Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. As you may have noticed, one of the high holy days of the professional wrestling calendar was upon us this past weekend with SummerSlam happening Saturday night in Detroit. Aside from the obligatory Kid Rock appearance, it seems like things went pretty well for WWE's summertime staple. At least that's what we're guessing, since neither one of us got a chance to check out the whole thing. But far be it for us to allow a lack of preparation to stop us from opening our pie holes and barfing out an opinion or two. So we'll be checking out 2 of the 4 main events and providing some commentary for matches in this episode 138 SummerSlam, a tale of 2 matches. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the man who once wrestled a wild wombat after he took a wrong turn on his scooter coming back from the office. He has been my partner in idiocy for over 2 decades and has been medically cleared after several rabies tests and, oddly enough, 3 rectal examinations. I give you the man they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are you?
I am doing quite well. And yourself, sir?
I'm doing well. And was that wombat a Skrull? I don't know.
It might have been. It was either that or a womp rat.
Well, that was the one I was trying to think of, but I'm like, I can't remember exactly what that was. It was a creature of great contention during the Real Jabroni.
Or was it Mephisto?
Ah, there you go. Could be.
I mean, you can't say that it wasn't Mephisto, so it might have been Mephisto.
You know, with Loki season 2 around the corner, I think we have to bring back Mephisto for the Loki Real or Jabroni. You know what I mean?
We'll have to get its own theme song. Mephisto Watch 2023.
Yeah.
Gosh. And you know that Jimmy Dice would have some odd with anything having to do with something called Mephisto. He would have something off. What to say?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so we are going to dive into our thoughts on at least a part of, like a quarter of SummerSlam. Not even a quarter.
Yeah, normally we do a review, right?
Yeah.
Normally we do a match-by-match breakdown. Unfortunately, for the man they call Tim and Uncle Todd, our schedules have gotten a bit busy. I think Uncle Todd's still trying to retrieve his from the dumpster fire.
I've given up.
Yeah, and so and even better, man, they called Tim was a couple bourbons in, so it's gonna.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So probably while we're watching, it'll be like, oh, I didn't realize they did that because I must have blacked out for 2 minutes or something somewhere in there. So that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, but. Well, before we dive in, because I'm ready to start commenting on the event as a whole, but I'm going to hold off here because we have a week in Geek segment par excellence, brought to us, of course, by the man they call Tim.
The week in Geek.
Feels so funky.
What do we got for this episode?
So we're going to kick off the week in Geek with a couple of Star Wars items, and then a little bit of Loki season 2. So starting off, courtesy of our friends over at CBR.com, a brief article on Lars Milkinson discussing or teasing Thrawn's brutality and the way he kind of got into character and his concerns about whether he could get into character. That's right. But really what I'm gleaning from this article and what he's calling Thrawn's brutality, and it's really, I guess, a semantic argument, is, he gets into the idea of, that Grand Admiral Thrawn, he's brutal to a certain point, but he's not stupid, Milkinson said, and he utilizes the creativity around him. He doesn't just kill people for fun, but he's sort of like 7 pages ahead of everyone else. And this is something we've talked about at great length between you and I on the show, and then with Jimmy Dice when we had our little book review of the original Thrawn trilogy. God, Tron.
And Tron as well. Why not?
And Tron as well. But yeah, his main point, and later in the article, he discusses how, because originally he was the voice actor for Thrawn in Star Wars Rebels. He was concerned, would he be able to bring the same menace and the same kind of tone to the character that he brought just through the voice acting in live action. But he said after hours of makeup and prosthetics, he felt he could embody the blue-skinned alien commander better than he expected. Well, sir, after several hours of makeup and prosthetics, I'm sure you got to say that. Otherwise, this whole thing is, a little bit of a joke. But nonetheless, excited to see him in his debut as this character comes to life for reals in a few weeks with Asohka kicking off here at the end of August. So, sir, thoughts on this? I'm a little bit of old hat for us, to be perfectly honest, and that's really the extent of the article. It was a little blurb from him on his ability to play this character, as well as him talking about just the chess master that Grand Admiral Thrawn is. He is a character that thinks several moves ahead. There's a lot of redirection or indirection going on with some of his plans, and as we talked about with the Mandalorian season 3, there was one episode in particular where we thought it would lead to his debut, because the way things played out was very Thrawn-like. There was different points of indirection going on that led to the heroes just barely escaping by the skin of their teeth, and I'm excited to see that, because as we talked about, we really haven't seen a character like this who thinks so far ahead and puts really puts the heroes on their heels because he is anticipating their next move. But what say you, sir?
I think that it's a good way to talk about Thrawn's brutality, like the idea of that, because you don't necessarily think of him in that way, but there is a brutality to what he's doing. Mm-hmm. To me, the first thing that popped into my head was, and it's an odd connection, but hey, that's what we do on this show, Paul Sorvino's character in Goodfellas. And the idea that Paulie is, he doesn't move fast. He doesn't move fast because he doesn't have to move for nobody. And he kind of is this quiet guy who doesn't have to tell you in charge, because there's no doubt that he is. And he is a thinker. He is ahead of the game until, he gets sold out. But that idea of, like, there's no doubt that he would have someone offed. There's no doubt that he would do what needs to be done. There is just that aura about him, but it doesn't come out of rage, which is the thing that separates Thrawn from a lot of pretty much every other, baddie in Star Wars, is because they're coming at it from a place of anger or just hubris or whatever. And to him, it ain't personal. It's just business. Yeah. It's just business. And if he has to wipe out a couple thousand people, all right, so be it. That's what it requires. That's what we'll do. Yeah. And that's why it's brutal. It's almost a more terrifying brutality because of the coldness of it. Yeah. Because it isn't personal. And so therefore anything is really on board as long as the numbers add up to what this guy wants it to add up to. Yeah. And that's kind of it's a very cold-blooded calculation that almost makes you more uncomfortable. It's like when you deal with the people who, the crimes of passion, where you're like, well, I mean, they got carried away. They kind of lost it there, and it was the heat of the moment, as opposed to, like they say, well, that person they killed him in cold blood. Like, they weren't worked up. They planned it and they just did it. That's almost more terrifying, because you're like, oh my gosh, a person can do that. Ugh.
One scene I hope I don't know if they would do it in the Asohka series, or, well, actually the series seems like maybe the right place to do it, and not the movie that maybe coming Heir to the Empire, but which is not officially announced, but it's been quasi kind of announced. If you remember, I think it is in the first book, Heir to the Empire, where there's a scene on the what's the name of the ship, the Chimera or something like that,
the Chimera.
The Chimera, thank you. Where one of his gunners or whoever kind of sets up the big guns to go fire, makes a mistake. And in that scene, Thrawn talks to the officer about what he did, incorrectly, and what he will do differently the next time.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I think it would be interesting for them to bring that scene to life is because, and this plays into the brutality piece, but also the core difference between Thrawn as a villain versus other Imperials we've seen before. Other Imperials, Vader, the Emperor, I'm trying to think of a few others, but
Hux. I mean, any of like these guys, even
there's a brutality to them. Like if you screw up, you're going to get killed basically, or severely, punished in a very, very negative and hurtful way. Thrawn, on the other hand, he has this menace, like the Imperial serving on his ship probably are well aware of how things used to be as part of the Imperial regime.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of plays on that a little bit, but he also shows some mercy and some grace in the process. And, as we talked about when we discussed the book, in some ways it almost builds more loyalty and trust in his crew and him, because now it's like, okay, if I screw up, he may not necessarily, like he may give me another chance, sort of thing. Like I will follow this man into, battle, or into the fray, no matter what it might be, because I know at the end of the day, he's not this mindless, kind of killer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that aspect of his character, I hope they kind of show that in some way, shape, or form, because that will contrast him very much to the archetype that has been portrayed so far of Imperial officers and Imperial leaders, which has been punish, destroy, kill the idiot, even though much of the mistakes that end up getting made by the Empire are really coming from the leadership, not necessarily from the ones carrying out the plan.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So I just think that would be kind of an interesting thing to contrast it. And I haven't gotten to the season in Rebels yet when I'm basically almost done season 1. I couldn't believe season 2 has 22 freaking episodes I got to get through to get to season 3.
Pretty sure all of the seasons have 22 after the first one.
No, first one's got 16. That's it.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I think after that first season, then they all have 22 after that.
2 and 3 do, and then I think 4 may have 16 as well. I got to look again, or it might be a shorter run. But anyways, my whole point is, I got to see like how he was portrayed in that show, because it sounds like he kind of gives them a run for their money to the point where it ends the way it ends, and he disappears. But yeah, to have him come back and kind of show the way that he kind of dissects his opponents and almost leads them into certain scenarios because of their tendencies and then corners them I'm just excited to see a villain of that caliber portrayed on Star Wars, and I'm hoping that it really brings about kind of a rebirth of interest in the villains that they can create for this franchise, of that style.
Indeed.
All right, I think we've beat that one to death. Next one. We're going to jump from Star Wars over to Loki and then back to Star Wars. So this one, courtesy of our friends from ScreenRant.com. The title of this one, Loki Season 2's new villain, in parentheses, not Kang, can bring back a Phase 3 icon the MCU forgot existed.
Ooh.
And this article gets into, I believe in the last trailer, I didn't notice this because, again, I'm not deep in the lore, but apparently there was a quick blurb or a scene where of a Marvel villain known as Zaniac. Are you familiar with Zaniac?
I am not familiar with the Zaniac.
Okay, well, Zaniac apparently has a connection
Zaniac, Zaniac. Oh no! I'm doing
the Chips music lined up.
No, but I was doing the flash dance here.
Okay. All right. Well,
I now need to finish the show from a reclining position.
I was going to say, are you like is your back like locked up now, or
my hip has gone out?
But apparently Zaniac has links to Doctor Strange's first MCU antagonist, Dormammu. Apparently, in the comics, Zaniac is the name that one of the hosts of a demonic entity sent from the dark dimension assumes after transforming themselves into a werewolf-like monster inspired by a horror movie called Zaniac. This demon, whose first host on Earth would go on to assassinate multiple women and become known as Marvel's in-universe Jack the Ripper, was sent to Earth from the dark dimension by Dormammu. Whoever this demon chose as a host would act as an extension of Dormammu's will, although the host would retain some agency. So, the idea being that if this, in fact, is one of the big bads of Loki season 2, that could it basically then revive or bring back Dormammu for a potential Doctor Strange 3 film that has not been announced, but the article here is just postulating if this connection continues, do we see Dormammu coming back and Doctor Strange having to battle him in some new movie? Thoughts on this, sir?
I hope we don't see Dormammu again. It was nice while it lasted, but done with that. I think it's thin. I think at this point, everybody's just trying to find something other than Kang to talk about. Because we're, I saw an article today on Reddit where Jonathan Majors' lawyers have come out and are pleading his case in the out in the public. As Ron White might say, out in the public, that this has damaged his career, and that he has suffered from this. And I'm like, okay, well, where's this video that you've been saying that's going to totally exonerate him? I'm kind of curious to see that before we talk about how much Johnny has really suffered in this. The whole thing is a mess. It sounds like on par with the Depp Heard situation, because apparently from this, I guess the woman who is the ex in question is not in New York, and I guess when she comes back to New York, there's an arrest warrant for her or something. I didn't get too deep into it because I'm like, I can't spend too much time on this stuff, But I think everybody's just trying to find something other than Johnny Majors and Kang to talk about, because we're just all kind of in a holding pattern until the other shoe drops, and then Marvel uses that shoe to either kick him to the curb or kick him back into the centerpiece of their phases here. Maybe not. I don't know. I honestly don't care. I'm
throw one other connection out there for you just to see if it convinces you.
Please.
So if you remember from the Multiverse of Madness post-credit scene, we are introduced to Charlize Theron's character, Clea. And apparently in the comics, Clea's entire family is tied to the Dark Dimension, where Dormammu is from, including the fact that Dormammu is her uncle. So,
Uncle Dormy. He's a silly one, let me tell you.
Uncle Dormammu.
Okay.
The mama.
Having some urban hangover from the other night. You okay? Having some flashbacks.
Dormammu. give me a double need of Dormammu.
You ever have a Dormammu? You got some Zambuca?
What's the proof rating on that Dormammu?
That's barrel-proof Dormammu. You don't want to mess with that.
Okay.
It's 125 proof and Dark Dimension distilled.
In wine barrels, baby. In wine barrels. Good God. Anyways, Clea, as we know in the post-credit scenes, opened a portal to the Dark Dimension after warning Strange about an incursion that he caused, and pulls him in kind of into it, I believe. And so the thought is, she is basically pulling him into the Dark Dimension, and would this basically be him reconnecting with that villain? So we will have to see if that actually comes to fruition. For as of right now, there is no Doctor Strange 3 announced, I don't believe. So not even in a holding pattern.
As doubtful anything will be with the way that everything is shifting around now.
Oh boy, Bob's dropping the axe on everything. So
Well, I mean, between Bob and the writing and acting strike and everything else, I mean,
well, fair enough. Yeah.
Why announce anything new? You're pushing back just the stuff that you're already kind of committed to.
Yeah.
By months and in some cases a year.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
If they just listen to Teddy KGB, pay them their money. That's what we want.
Absolutely.
I need money.
All right. And jumping back to Star Wars, this was an article I found actually last month. I've been deferring this one a little bit, back on July 25th. And this is from CBR.com. A Knights of the Old Republic series could fix Star Wars' issues. And for those who are not initiated on Knights of the Old Republic, this is a RPG style video game that was big back in, I believe it came out in 2003, and captured the imagination of the video gaming fan base at the time. It was a different kind of game, really trying to encapsulate the decision making aspect of what you do when you play an RPG. So not necessarily it's not like a Star Wars: The Old Republic that I've talked about before, where you're kind of running around and shooting things. You're following a storyline. You have to make choices, and those choices lead to other choices. Kind of like choose your own adventure sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And basically, what this game is most known for is its twist. It's because you basically, for half the game, you're playing a character who doesn't remember their past at all. And you're trying to basically, as part of the story, you're trying to unlock the secrets of this thing called the Star Forge, which is basically an automated shipyard that is imbued with dark side energy, can create an unstoppable army. And of course, there is a Darth luring, in the behind the scenes, Darth Malik, that you're trying to stop, from doing things.
Is this sort of like is this like the Ed Fed of the family, though?
Not quite. No, Darth Malik actually is kind of a nasty looking guy. He basically has apparently lost, I think he lost like the bottom part of his jaw in some sort of battle, and so he wears, it's almost like honestly what I think this is it's like they look at Darth Vader and they're like, we got to come up with another villain, but what can we do that we haven't done before with a face covering? And someone must have said, hey, what if we just take the metal piece and put it over the mouth and just leave everything else, visible? It's like, yeah, we haven't done that before. Let's do that. And then you have Darth Malik. So, so he's basically this character who basically has this like metal like jaw. He almost reminds me of, do you remember in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe?
I was just thinking of that. Yeah.
Bingo. Kind of reminds, but it doesn't move.
And the problem is he every time he goes to talk.
Right. Exactly.
What?
Exactly.
What did you say?
Yes.
The rats have infested your hangar.
Basically. I'm
sorry, I'm not getting it all.
Yeah.
It really, the cut scenes are not the best.
Yeah. So again, the idea is they would take the kind of the storyline from this game, and the argument here is if you turned it into a TV show, a la like The Mandalorian, again, this for the uninitiated, this takes place 4,000 years before the events of Star Wars, so it's long before the Skywalkers and all of the events that we've been witnessing through the shows and the movies.
I'm sure they'll find a way to sandwich a Skywalker in there somewhere.
Yes. And so one of the interesting parts about the story, though, is so you play this character who who doesn't remember who they are for about half the game, and then there is a point in the game where the twist is revealed, where you end up finding out that this Darth Malik had a partner named Darth Revan, and you end up finding out that you are Revan, that your mind was wiped for whatever the storyline reason, you were left for dead, you were saved, and now you discover who you are. You realize you're a Force user, you're well skilled with the lightsaber and the ways of the Force, and now you go after Malik to basically thwart his plans. And
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
There you go. So I'm not doing it justice. It is a very cool twist. Like I remember when I first read about when I was looking before I started playing Old Republic, and I was looking for Star Wars games to play, which at the time there weren't a whole lot. Old Republic was still around. I don't think Knights of the Old Republic is out there, but yeah, the story was one of the unique parts, that there was just a great creativity there that if you could take that and adapt it into a television show, I think would at least, connect with the audience in a way that maybe some of the other shows have not quite, connected.
So my question here, though, is
Yes.
how is this going to fix Star Wars? That's the thing that.
Well, I think
you
in a
mentioned
couple
at the
ways.
top, and I haven't yet seen it.
So my opinion after reading this article is it's going to fix it in a couple of ways. One is,
Oh wait, is this your opinion that it could fix it, or is this the opinion of the article?
The opinion of the article is, I'm going to parrot some of what the article says, but
Okay.
I guess I'm saying I buy into some of the arguments of the article.
Aha.
Okay, it's a different time period we haven't seen before.
Okay.
One of the other pieces of Knights of the Old Republic is it did introduce the players to new locations such as Korriban and Manan, which are planets that are part of the Old Republic game, and I believe have been incorporated into the Star Wars universe as a whole.
Okay.
Korriban, I think, what's the character from Rebels? That creature, the big guy who's kind of like the muscle of the group.
Oh crap.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he showed up in the last
He
season.
showed up in Mando. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh,
thought he was from Korriban.
crap. Or I should say, what's a swear word he always uses?
Calabast.
Yes. Oh, is it Carabash or
Carabash. Yeah, Carabash. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see here.
I'll
find
so while
it.
you're looking that up, like one of the highlights of the game was it introduced
Zeb.
players. Zeb, thank you. I think he's from Korriban.
Okay, let's see here.
I don't know if it,
Zeb Aurelius.
although
Let's-
it says it's the Sith homeworld, so maybe that's not right.
All right, here's Wikipedia.
Yes.
Garazeb Aurelia, whatever. Commonly known as Zeb, male Lasat rebel who manned the starship the Ghost. Captain Lassan.
Oh, he's a Lasat. That's right. Yeah.
Homeworld of Lassan.
Okay, I was wrong. Maybe I'm confusing Korriban with Karabash, which is his swear word.
Could be.
We'll bleep this in post production.
No, we won't.
So, yeah, and I just saw the blurb where it said Korriban was the Sith homeworld. So, yeah, I think I was way off on that. But the idea is that it introduced fans to new locations in a visual way. That is one of the things that I really enjoy about Old Republic is they have really, really vivid and very well fleshed out and just beautiful landscapes in these games. Really engages the imagination and really paints a great picture of what some of these places might look like. Others that they were talking about is, we've never really seen Nar Shaddaa, which is basically in many ways like a Las Vegas of the Star Wars galaxy, where a lot of smugglers and bounty hunters would tend to congregate, and so as well as Nal Hutta, which is where the Hutts run their kind of criminal families from, and that sort of thing. So so on the one hand, helps Star Wars because it kind of opens more doors to new places we haven't seen before in a different time period. And then I think when you layer in the story, which I know I just spoiled, but if you layer in the story of an amnesiac who's trying to figure out who he is, ends up finding out he basically caused most of what he's fighting against, and now is trying to do it, make it right again. It's just a different story that we really haven't seen in kind of the lore of Star Wars, more mainstream. So I think it's those three things. There's the locations. I'm forgetting what the second one is already because my brain's not working. It's been a long day. It's the time period, location, and story. So is really the main things, with that Revan twist being one of the big ones. So I don't know if that tickles your fancy, sir, but it just sounds something different and interesting to me.
All right. Well, first of all, it's Karabast.
Karabast
is the swear word.
Okay.
I guess. Valid points. Those are all good reasons why to bring it in. I just look at it like I don't really think Star Wars needs a whole lot of fixing.
All right.
I just don't. I mean, I don't think it's in such poor shape that, oh my gosh, you need to fix this. It's going down the tubes.
Well,
I think right now, quite honestly, aside from the whining of a segment of fans, and I'm not speaking of you here, I'm just speaking of the general, that section of the fans that are unhappy with anything beyond the original trilogy. I think you could argue that even with some of the missteps and everything else, Star Wars is in a pretty damn healthy place right now. I mean, Mando has been 3 strong seasons. Whether you loved or hated Book of Boba Fett, it still gave you something there. Whether or not you loved, Kenobi, hey, it filled in some blanks and gave you a little extra lore. I don't think either one of those were like a 10 out of 10 for sure, but it was fun yarns, whatever. I mean, it's not like it's the freaking Star Wars Christmas special. But I mean, or for God's sake, it's not like it's Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And now you've got Asohka coming out, which I think everybody's excited about. So I mean, there's no big movies at the moment, but okay, it's doing pretty darn well right now. And everything seems to be like expanding the universe in exponential ways that weren't done in the movies. Yeah. So to me, like, it's actually in a pretty damn good place. I just don't look at it as something that needs to be fixed. Now, that does not say that this wouldn't work as a good TV show or that it couldn't be a nice addition. I just look at it like, a little clickbaity in the title, because I mean, really, what is there that much to fix? I don't think so.
I guess I look at it more as a reinvigoration than it is fixing, because I agree with you. And when you read the beginning of this article, it is pulling from that negative fan base area that we're all too accustomed, to reading about and hearing about, where fans think, Star Wars, I think in the article it says good portion of the community believes that Star Wars has been creatively bankrupt for some time. I don't agree with that statement. What?
He was a punk.
Thank you, Sheiky. So I think injecting some originality, and I look at it more as a reinvigoration in the same way that Mandalorian, I think, reinvigorated, many fans' interest and connection into Star Wars, because it showed us something different, and something that I think a lot of the, especially old school fan base had wanted to see for a long time. And it was just that kind of snapshot of bounty hunter life and what a bounty hunter does that isn't Boba Fett. And so, so I'm kind of bullish on this. I like the idea of trying new things, and if we frame this from a reinvigoration standpoint, I agree. I 100% agree with you that it's not Star Wars is dying and it needs like fixing from that perspective, because I agree with you. I think they're in a very healthy place, but I think this is an interesting idea that if Bob wasn't swinging the financial axe, we might be able to, realize potentially on the plus in a year or two here. But and then of course the strike, the writer-actor strike as well, which, as you say, or as Teddy KGB would say, pay them.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Enough of that. Last item, and then we'll get to the Sheik Tweet of the week. Just want to share, I missed this in our last episode. This is not recent news. This is from a couple weeks ago. Basically on the 30th of July, the missus and I frequented the Wintrust Arena in downtown Chicago to take in a WNBA matchup between the Chicago Sky and the Phoenix Mercury. Unbelievable game where, as I said to many of my friends and colleagues, I think the ladies played a much more interesting game of basketball than the men do, to be honest, because they were just pulling some amazing plays off that I'm just like, this is how basketball should be played. They're not sitting behind the three-point line hawking up three-pointers all the live long day. They're driving to the hoop. At one point, one of the Phoenix Mercury stars drove to the hoop, on one of the sides, and as she got to the point of, launching into a layup, she instead threw the ball behind her, which would basically bring the ball to the top of the key. No one was there. And then all of a sudden, one of her players just rolled right in, right when the ball got there, snagged it, threw up the shot, boom, hit it. It was beautiful. It was just a beautiful play. Just really enjoyed watching him play. Well, in the fourth quarter, during one of the breaks, on the Jumbotron, they had what they called the flex cam, where they were asking, they do these things to kind of keep the game moving and stuff, and for the fans. And so, they do your best flex for the Jumbotron. And right as soon as it finished with the purpose point and instructions of what to do, I'm looking up at the Jumbotron and looking at myself. And I'm just like, oh, like for a moment, there's almost like a pause, like you're just like, oh, that's me.
You had a Harry moment. Hi.
Exactly.
And of course, Tim was drunk. So
I was not. I had not imbibed. I was not. But what I did do is, and I wish I had my wits about me, because if I had, I would have launched into the full sequence of Hogan poses. Instead, I simply went for the traditional, biceps on either side, flex, and did that a couple times. The funny part was, I was. My wife was like looking something up on her phone. I was telling her, "Oh, look, we're on the Jumbotron," and she was just very deep into what she was looking for. And so at one point, the camera pulls back, and it's just like the perfect sight for. I mean, you talk about me being, one of the two idiots of this show. There I am flexing, and my wife is looking very serious and focused on what she's doing. And so it was just a really funny scene.
Oh yeah, which is the perfect. It's exactly how our wives look at us. It's like, yeah, whatever. It was funny about 15 years ago, and now
yes, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna pretend like I don't know. I'm kidding.
It was funny because so my wife was watching. I shouldn't say she was. It was on the TV, the new Fixer Upper, or the one season they put out or whatever. And at one point, Chip is doing his spiel and all this, and and his wife is walking around, and I'm like, she's not even listening to him. Like, she is in another place entirely, and she knows she's on TV, and she's like, yeah, whatever, you chucklehead. I'm thinking about design ideas and stuff that's going to make us money.
Make money, make money.
I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
It's not just me. It happens to a lot of guys. All right, perfect. Oh,
that is funny. That is funny.
And you know what? Quite honestly, most of us deserve it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, man, they call Tim made his Jumbotron debut flexing like the idiot that he is.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Next time I'm going to come prepared and have a Free Range Idiocy shirt on hand. I'll throw it up there with our name and our address or whatever.
Shill for the show, sir.
Absolutely. Hey, there was a good crowd there. We would have had that many more views or listeners.
Yeah, probably like two. I would have actually converted on that.
We'll take it. We'll take that percentage conversion.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, sir. To wrap up this Week in Geek segment, I've now rented out a small section of this subsection of the show. Basically,
I love how you're subletting part of the show back to me. It's like some sort of ill-conceived money laundering scheme, except there's no money to be laundered.
But
the worst mafia operation ever known on the planet. This is costing us money. We're in the hole every single week.
We're trying to shuffle money around, but there's no money.
So all we're doing is shuffling.
Basically, every day I'm shuffling.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways,
where are we going?
As Uncle Todd likes to now kind of close us out here, the Sheiky Baby tweet of the week.
Yes, and this comes from a couple of years ago, and this one reads, as always, in full caps, "I be honest with you, I watched the Fresh Prince reunion and it make me happy, then sad, then happy, then sad, then happy again. Like me watching a Jets game, but with a happy end. I recommend you watch it, Bubba."
Ah, very nice. And no mention of Hogan.
I know. And it had a photo of the Fresh Prince cast from the reunion show. And I'm like, yes, a simpler time before Will Smith smacked the living crap out of Chris Rock. and the whole world turned on him. Yes, back when we used to think of Will Smith as like, hey, yeah, that guy, oh, he's great. And now we're like, yeah, he can't come in the building no more.
No, unfortunate.
But that is your Sheik tweet of the weeks, ladies and gentlemen.
And thank you, Uncle Todd, for that. And that, my friends, as we wrap this up, is the Week in Geek.
Well, thank you very much for dragging that out for so long. I really appreciate that.
Well,
now we're going to get into the SummerSlam, and you and I have watched a little bit of the SummerSlam, but
business,
not a whole lot, maybe 20% of the SummerSlam.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to mention is that I was in shock, you might say, as I was watching this, because I did start out watching it. I watched the opening match, the Logan Paul Ricochet match, which I got a couple of quick thoughts on that. But then when they were like, this is one of the first, then they get to the Cody Brock match, which is in like that dreaded number 2 spot. And they're like, this is one of our 4 main events. I'm like, 4 main events? Like, if you have 4 main events, like, it's almost like when you have like a closer by committee or a running back by committee. And yes, I'm using air quotes right now. Do you really have a closer, or do you really have a running back? No, you don't. So it was a very odd way of promoting it. I'm thinking there was some contractual stipulations involved in this somewhere along the line, back when like WCW had the Kiss Demon. And it was in their contract that he had to main event a pay-per-view. So they're like, oh yes, it's a double main event, and the main event that had the Demon in it was like the curtain jerker.
Well, there is a story behind the order.
Okay.
And so I'll tell the story, and then I want to share what I heard on the train tonight when I listened to Jim Cornette's review of this.
Uncle Corny.
Uncle Corny was bringing once again the A game, as he always does. Basically, Logan Paul asked to go on first because what he wanted to do was, after the match was done, he was immediately going to go to the airport, jump on a plane, fly to Dallas, where his brother was fighting in the UFC event that night. And he wanted to walk the aisle with his brother after having wrestled at SummerSlam. So they gave him that first slot. Then you have, the Brock Cody thing. Now, the funny thing from Cornette today, and I forget, I don't know his co-host's name, but basically he's talking about, when as Brock enters, looking a little pissed off, and his co-host says, well, yeah, because he didn't get the first slot. And then his co-host also says, he's like, do you think they came up with the match order based on how they book their flights? So
yeah, because then Brock's like, I'm not going on first. I want second, because then I can leave immediately and go back to Minnesota. Sounds about right.
And Cornette's laugh.
How to get home to Sable.
Cornette's laugh when he said that was, he has the best, like when he genuinely laughs at what his co-host says, it is it is phenomenal to listen to. He is so funny. And
he goes out of commission for like comment. 30 to 40 seconds where he's just incapable of doing anything.
Absolutely.
Needs to have a sip of Sprite and collect himself.
He's like, that's why Brock looks so pissed. He drew the short straw for who gets to leave first.
Sounds about right. I would go with that.
So anyway, that is the story behind it. Is Logan Paul making his way to his brother? I think Jake, is his name Jake Paul.
I could give less than 2 hoots in hell about Logan Paul. I'm already sick of Logan Paul, and I've only seen him.
You had some comments on that match. Did you want to give us a quick flavor of a quick hot take from Uncle Todd on the Ricochet Logan Paul tilt?
Well, if I were to give it, if we had done our normal, overall rating and recap of this thing, I would have probably given it 2.5 stars, like down the middle. Not spectacular, not terrible, but at the same time, it's a match that it just points out how choreographed you can be. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell it's just, okay, well, we're going from this spot to this spot to this spot to this spot. And then you just have to get from that spot to that spot to that spot to that spot. Like, it's not a match. There's the flow of it is not important. Everything is secondary to the order of the spots. And I mean, hey, people seem to like it. Folks liked it. The crowd seemed like they were into it. I didn't get a chance to watch enough of the show to really get a good feel for the crowd. I mean, it wasn't that the pay-per-view was it Montreal or Toronto where it was Sammy's hometown. It was Montreal, wasn't it?
Montreal. It was Montreal.
I mean, no, I have yet to hear another crowd that has been that hot. So it was nowhere near that. But they weren't dead. Yeah. So I mean, they liked it, but at the same time, I'm watching. I'm like, it just feels stiff because you're going ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, and the connective tissue is kind of it's secondary, if not like in third place.
Yeah.
Like everything is subservient to the spots, and how you get there is kind of we'll just get there. So that to me was sort of like meh. And man, I mean, I will say Logan Paul does great getting heat on himself. Man, he is a natural at heel heat. I mean, he just exudes it. Ricochet, man, for all of his ability, he's got to find something other than like the Hulk up scream for a reaction or something, because he is damn near a one-dimensional character. And it's too bad, because he is an uber talented guy, and he seems like he has some level of natural charisma, because people do dig him. But
they just haven't tapped it the right way yet.
I don't think so. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, a kind of down the middle match. Like, hey, it didn't tank the thing right off the bat, but it also didn't. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, we are off to the races, sort of thing. Like, well, hey, that was an opening match. Cool, solid. Next.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was the one match that I got to watch besides the following match. So and I will fully disclose right now that I did not get a chance to watch Reigns Uso either. Or no, I didn't get a chance to watch that one before we're recording. So I'm going to be watching that one totally live.
Nice.
And unprepared. But at least the Brock Cody match I did get a chance to watch. So I got some thoughts on that. Yeah.
Hot take.
So do you want to start off, or do you have any thoughts on this?
Just a real quick comment. So while you caught Logan Paul Ricochet, I blurrily watched the LA Knight Battle Royale, the Slim Jim Battle Royale that they had.
Yeah.
And the reaction that he got coming down the aisle was incredible. I mean, that had to feel good for this guy. As I mentioned, it's been a long journey for him to get to this point. But to go from smaller venues when he was wrestling for Impact and other independents to Ford Field and have that entire place go off when his music hit must have been amazing.
Well, it's interesting how they already had like a good, like, how many, like a good 20.
Oh yeah, they had
guys in the ring.
It was just him and AJ Styles that were left.
And so no, Miz got an intro.
Oh, Miz did. Okay, Miz got.
Yeah, it was Miz. Okay. Then, and I think they strictly did that because it's like, well, it would be kind of obvious if we just had LA Knight that we're just doing this for his pop. Because I mean, honestly, Miz, everyone was like, yeah, hey, music played, so we ought to do something. And then it's kind of the same with AJ Styles. Like, wow, talk about like not knowing what the hell to do with somebody. Like, they just can't figure out what to do with this guy, and he's uber talented. But anyways, but yeah, it was all about LA Knight, and it was essentially the LA Knight Battle Royal.
Yeah,
basically. How is LA Knight going to manage to win the Battle Royal so that he does something and the fans don't burn down Detroit, which is good. I mean, hey.
Yeah, but so that was what I saw, and it was a entertaining battle royale. But a couple interesting spots in it. I thought Omos was once again.
Oh yeah, he got the intro because he was the last second sort of thing. Yeah,
and he was definitely a force to be reckoned with. And then they did the spot where everyone like pig piles on him and throws him out, so he can't stop it. So anyways, it was just fun. It was a fun match, and it was just fun to see LA Knight get his due. I found it ironic too that I think he ended up last with Sheamus, and I think he threw Sheamus over. And I say that's ironic because recently Sheamus has on YouTube, he puts out, he gets together with other wrestlers and does a workout with them, and just it's kind of like
I've watched those. Those are good.
They're really good. He does one with LA Knight, and man, you watch that, and it's amazing to see these guys just in the real world, because LA Knight is just so down to earth. has some really, really great points that he kind of shares in terms of the way he does his workouts and what he kind of focuses on. And sounds stupid, but even just like writing stuff down, he's like, I really try to stay away from my screen as much as I can, because I'm on that thing probably way too much. And so he's like old school, just log everything that he does, which is crazy because these guys work out like every day, you know? And so anyway, so it was just a sneak peek into, kind of the real life of these superstars. So
excellent.
Very interesting. Anyways, but we're not here to talk about Sheamus, and maybe that's another episode we should do, is Sheamus and his workout videos. That doesn't sound right.
It's been funny because there's a couple of them, like when he's obviously like in situations where it's like, this is totally not a workout that he would do. Like I think he did one with Charlotte Flair where he was almost like begging off, like, no, let me lift something heavy and don't make me do all these weird things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of cool. And Sheamus seems like a genuinely kind of fun-loving, entertaining sort of guy,
Oh yeah. But he's in his element when he does that. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. So we said a tale of two matches. First match, sir. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar in the rubber match.
Yes. So for those of you who want to watch along, we're going to actually watch the match. We're going to provide some commentary. So if you have the Peacock pulled up, we're on SummerSlam, and you're going to want the timestamp at 0 hours, 33 minutes, and 9 seconds. That's where we're going to start, and that'll be the beginning of the intros, and we'll kind of cover a little bit of what's leading up to this, and then we'll get into the match proper. So are you ready, sir?
I am ready, sir.
All right, I'll count this one down. You count down the main event.
All right, sounds good.
So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
That car graphic kind of bugged me for some reason. I don't know why.
I know.
Felt very generic.
I enjoy Brock Lesnar's entrance music. I mean, there's just a menace to it. And seeing him come out, there he is. He's pissed off. He's not first one out the door.
Is it just me, or I am not a fan of the corner entrance. After having the big sets and all that, I'm not a fan of the little corner entrance and then the the entryway that comes down and does the dog leg. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, I don't mind the dog leg part because it kind of reminds me a little bit of like WrestleMania 7 when Warrior kind of, huffed and puffed his way,
Yeah.
he was running and you could tell he's like, man, that ring's really far away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was blown up by the time he got halfway.
But it's interesting to me, like when you watch the free television shows, the stage and the screens are massive. When you get to the pay-per-view, they have the most diminutive entryway.
Well, yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, the thing is, like, I expect that from some of the pay-per-views, but I mean, this is like one of the big four. This is literally, it was always WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and now you got this kind of weird corner screen thing. And I mean, I guess they do it for really now. I think the one pay-per-view that has the big set now is WrestleMania.
Yeah,
like they save that for kind of like the outdoor stadium now. It's weird how it's all been upsized.
Yeah.
But good God, look at this dude. Like I'm going to Google this right now. How old is Brock Lesnar?
I don't have I want to say 42. Honestly, I think he's in his early 40s.
He is 46 years old, sir.
He's 46?
40 bloody 6 years old.
Gosh.
That dude.
He doesn't look it. He doesn't look it.
That dude. And the thing is, like, of course he's ripped. I mean, and all that. I mean, but fast. Still. Lightning fast.
Yeah, when you see him basically get behind a guy to throw a German suplex, he's incredibly fast in how he gets around them. It's really just mind-boggling.
And I mean, it's one of those deals, like he's one of those people that you see that is like, this guy was born to be an athlete.
Oh yeah.
And is one of those guys who it doesn't even necessarily matter the sport. Like he would excel at most any sport you put him in. Like, can you imagine this dude's a rugby player?
Nope.
They'd outlaw him.
They would.
They'd have to. It'd be almost like when they outlawed the dunk in the NCAA because of Kareem.
Yeah.
Like,
here comes the American Nightmare. Here comes the American Nightmare.
Specific rules just
Cody
put
Rhodes.
in for Brock.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we get to the American Nightmare.
match number 1 was in May in Puerto Rico. Match number 2 was in June. I'm forgetting where Money in the Bank was.
Yeah.
And then, was it Money in the Bank? I don't remember. So match number 1 in Puerto Rico, that was the one where turnbuckle pad comes off, Brock cracks his head into it and bleeds like a stuck pig, and Cody basically just gets away with a pinfall in that match. Match number 2, match number 2 was in Saudi Arabia. It was Night of Champions.
Okay.
And that was where Brock, so Cody didn't submit, but he passed out being in the Kimura lock.
Yeah.
And that was the one where at the end Brock's just like staring at him, just like, I mean, just a great facials and selling by Brock, where he's just, not that he's afraid of him, but he's just like, what do I need to do to put this guy down? You know what I mean? Like, he's just beside himself.
Yeah, that was a nice. I noticed that in the pre-package. Like, that was nice. Like, that was a nice way to kind of start to further the arc instead of it just being like, and of course he gets whooped or whatever.
And the two of them have just, I mean, really carried by Cody's promos on Raw, have just built this amazing, feud where, they took a pause in July. I think Cody fought Dominic Mysterio at Night of Champions and beat him. And, they kind of, he left it open. Like, I think his promo was like, are you satisfied? Are you satisfied with that? And let's, one more match to let's do the rubber match to see who's really ahead here. I love Brock's smiling is disturbing.
Oh yeah. It's like one of the sharks in like, in Finding Nemo.
Gosh.
Like,
yes.
I'm Bruce. Like,
yeah, you're scaring me, Bruce.
It's almost like it's like someone trying to be friendly, but you're like, oh, no, that's just terrifying. Please don't.
So I have a question. I have a question, Uncle Todd. So as Cody's about to enter the ring,
would I ever get
hard times?
Would I ever get
hard times, Dusty?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me if I'd ever get a neck tattoo, and the answer is no, because I'd wind up with something like that.
Yeah, that I just don't understand what possesses someone to get a neck tattoo like that. It's just, I
mean, don't get me wrong. Else. I am tattooed myself. I have 2 tattoos, but there's just areas.
No, it's not the tattoo. It's like it's the placement. Like,
it's the location.
The neck just seems like the strangest place to put it.
Well, you remember when the Undertaker had his wife's name tattooed across like the front of his neck?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then had to get the cover up. That was a great idea.
All right, Dusty, we in for hard times? Oh,
Cody out of the gate right here. Oh yeah,
Cody out of the gate. Here we go. He's
throwing. That baby, get funky with him, and then immediately starts getting his ass kicked.
And there's the German.
Yep,
the German suplex.
And so I think this match is really interesting because they utilize.
I love that move when he goes down and punches up like that.
Yeah, the drop down.
Sorry, you were saying.
Well, no, these kicks, I don't know about them. Like, it never seems like he quite lands them the way that he thinks he's gonna. They always look sloppy to me. I do really appreciate like just the way that Brock. Like they managed to show Brock being just this force of nature, but in really simple ways. Like right there, like when he was like a moment ago when he came off the ropes to do like the third kick, and instead of like catching him in a move or something, like Brock just literally just like pushes him, and so I mean it seems like it was very simple. There was a lot of time taken in this, like even though they're kind of moving a little quick right now, just to kind of get the blood moving.
Yep.
They do manage to bring it down to this pace that I it's tough for me to describe. When we get to the point, I'll start talking about it. But I love how they took advantage of some things that I don't feel like we normally see.
Yeah. Good back and forth though. Like Brock got in his stuff early, and then Cody's been trying to mount an offense, and then Brock stops him short.
Yeah.
Just not a good thing to be on the outside with Brock though. Oh my gosh.
No.
Guy's going to snap and do an F5 on the floor at any given moment.
Well, and this is the thing. Like, I mean, Brock is legit one of those guys where you're like, I would be terrified of working with this guy. Because if he even has a hint that you are trying to put something on him, or you're trying to take advantage of him, or you think you're gonna run your own program, this dude could end you. Yeah. Without a whole lot of difficulty.
I mean, that move right there where he just like picks him up and just like almost throws him over his shoulder. It's like, well, I could powerbomb you, but I'm just going to throw you like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, it's like, what is that move called? Nothing. That's just called me just beating the hell out of you. Like, that's a street fight move.
Belly to back suplex right there. Good Lord.
Yep. Suplex City. The bus just arrived.
Oh, there he is gloating. Oh, there he goes. He's doing a little back and forth.
Are you not entertained? However, the one thing I will say, like, Brock is a specimen, but dude, I'm telling you right now, I got the calves on him. I feel good about that. Like, I've got some decent calf muscles.
Well, you're working up to that rock deadlift that you're trying to shoot for there.
Well, the problem is, like, one thing that is I've realized, and I never had to deal with it because I've always had naturally big calves, which I always thought was kind of weird, but apparently, like, you can't really increase your calf size. Like,
interesting.
Like, if you don't have muscular calves, there's not a whole lot of training you can do to get big calves. You know, so that's always one of the things I'll say with my trainer. I'm like, I just, I think that no one was talking to me, but I think they were just intimidated by my calf pump. That's what I think it was. So I love that there where he's laughing like, yeah, I figured I'd try pin,
even though he kicks out. So one thing Cornette mentioned, which I think is which I agree with, is how interesting with these three matches that Cody has. Cody was kind of shining a light on Brock in a way that no other opponent Brock has faced has done in a long time, and I'll get into why he says that later because of how what happens at the end of this match. But
I love how hang on just 1 second. I love how, like, in those just the last couple minutes there, we saw Brock almost like amateur wrestling, kind of like those quick moves around him, like avoiding a takedown and all that. Beautiful stuff. Again, just showcasing like how scary this dude is.
Yeah.
Anyways, go back. I think, you're talking about Cornette.
Yeah, and anyway, so he was just highlighting just like I mentioned with the promos that Cody has put forth across these three matches and the way he's sold this and his fighting spirit, but the way he's just shined a light on just the viciousness of Brock and Brock as a character in a way that didn't really happen with Reigns, and others, and so. And like I said, we'll get into it at the end of the match when Brock does what he does. But yeah, you gotta love it here where he's just like wanting him to come back in the ring, and he's just like just playing with him now. Basically, just Cody is just getting the crap kicked out of him.
This is what I loved. Because you and I both know in today's WWE, maybe in AEW as well, but I think it's somewhat common. The idea of a count out is absurd. Like it just doesn't, because people go outside the ring for 5 minutes at a time, and the ref is not counting, and hardcore matches just happen even though it's not stipulated that it's no DQ. Here they actually use the idea of a count out to tremendous dramatic effect.
Oh yeah,
and I love that because they're taking advantage of something that is inherently part of the structure of professional wrestling.
Yep.
And they're using it to a dramatic effect that nobody else in years has done. And the way that this is working here, where like the first time Brock wants him to come back in, this time he's kind of like, all right, that dumb move, you should have stayed out. And now it starts
I love
turning.
Him yelling at him. I love him. Just stay down, save yourself.
Yeah. This is like the build for Cody in this.
Yeah.
Between passing out in the submission and then this series of countouts is just tremendous, dude. And it's not this extraordinary thing. It is something that is so basic to professional wrestling. And this is the difference between the Ricochet Logan Paul match and this. Like, there's drama here.
Yeah. This is only going to get worse, Brock tells him.
And also, notice this. Has Brock dropped an F5 yet?
Nope. Nope. But what
No.
he has done, what I want to comment on real quick is, I think he has busted out just about every suplex you can at this point. He's done the Germans. He's done belly to back. He's done the traditional vertical.
Yep. Which
he
he
did a
doesn't do
powerbomb
very
setup
often.
and threw him over his back.
Actually, if I'm remembering right, like Brock doesn't bust out like the standard side suplex very often.
Yes, you are correct, sir. You are correct.
And
he does not.
But I mean, he went for that one pin, I think, after a suplex, which is something he normally doesn't do. But he avoids the finisher.
Yeah.
For so long until it means something. And that's why, to me, it's like, this just tells me, number one, we know that Lesnar has a great mind for this. I mean, Heyman himself has said it, that Lesnar is no dummy, that he has a great mind for the business, but he also is working with someone who has a great mind as well. And the way that this match is structured is like, no, don't use an F5. Don't go for the finisher and let me kick out of it now.
Yeah.
And I love this move. I love this move where Brock is just like waiting to head down the aisle.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
When you talk about using the count out to great effect, the way that they're doing here, the story coming into this is Cody promising that he's going to embarrass Brock.
Mm-hmm.
And instead we get a match where Brock is he's not embarrassing Cody, but I mean, he is toying with him at this point. He has him. Okay, here we go.
First F5 and it's
F5
outside.
number 1. Boom, not on the concrete, but the padding on the concrete.
And you notice, like, when they do the replay, check out the way they shake the camera. It's a very little detail. They shake the camera at the point of impact.
Interesting.
I noticed that. I thought I noticed the first time, and then I caught it on the replay. Such a great old school move. Watch this. See that little
bounce, bounce.
And that's what Mick Foley had talked about. Like what he had talked to a guy in WCW who used to shoot when he dove off the apron with the elbow. He'd give the camera a little shake to accentuate the, almost like sometimes when in a movie, an old school trick to emphasize. I think Tarantino did this. After a gunshot, they insert a white frame, a single white frame. But so you don't actually see it, but your brain registers it. So it's almost like this, and it kind of gives us this startling thing.
Yeah. So Cody now beats it at 9. So he's beaten the count out several times. And he's like Cornette was saying, and I agree with him. Like, not that he's a ripoff of Dusty in any way, shape, or form, but he is embodying like the babyface in peril in a way that just gets the crowd behind him and connected with him. And here he comes. House of Fire. Look at these punches. Oh, dang. Here it goes.
Yep.
Good God. And he's ready to kick him out of the ring too.
And here we
Brock
go.
Runs up.
Like and this is the part where I feel like in a way like this was, oh my gosh. Oh, and the delay collapse.
Yep.
Definitely
That's
probably
beautiful.
not planned, but worked really well. But and then you have Cole now telling him to stay down.
Yeah, and that was a great that was a great detail right there, having Cole say that. Because again, this isn't Cody being embarrassed, but Brock is clearly dominating. He's trying to make a point here, and he's just like, stay down. And then for Cole to reemphasize that was just well done.
Yeah, when it goes back to sometimes JR jumping into that mode of like, somebody stop the damn match. By God, he's had enough. Those sort of moments, and Cole is getting into that territory here. But I love I think the idea of the embarrassment comes from the idea that Brock just can't put him away, and that even if Brock got a count-out win, what does that mean? Like, he still didn't actually pin him. And it's I think
it goes back to the story of him breaking him, right? He's trying to break Cody here. He's trying to make him just stop, and he can't get him to stop, and he's just beside himself. So the layer, this trilogy of matches just has built up, wonderfully into a buildup of both men. Brock doesn't look
at the
any
expression
worse
on Brock's face here. Look at it. Like, just
should we be concerned about how much he's sweating?
Yeah, he's a very sweaty man.
Brock, it's like, geez, maybe not eat so much steak, my man.
I have a feeling that like at Brock's house, like they have to have a maid service just come in to change the sheets every morning.
Off of him when he slaps him.
Yep.
Oh, good God.
His sheets have to be changed daily because they're just drenched the next day.
Oh my gosh.
That's a guy who just sweats like eating his cereal in the morning. Like the man just pisses intensity. It's insane.
Did you see the scarring on Cody's
oh yeah,
left side there? Oh my god. I think it's from the F5 he took. Oh, now here we go. Back to match number 1. Look, he grabs on in desperation and he pulls the turnbuckle pad off and throws it as he gets thrown. That's exactly what happened in the first match. So now you're thinking, so now is Brock going to go head first into this? And what I love is how they change this up because we don't end up getting that. We get a variation of it. And it's phenomenal. Oh, here we go. Stairs being, oh geez. Yeah. He
and then just down. Casually kicked away from him.
I mean, every time he tries to just get a shot in, just Brock, just like, oh my gosh, just always. Oh, there we go. Little Brock into the ring post. Ooh, twice.
3 times I made it.
Dang, there's the stairs.
Yep.
There's the stairs. And one thing I love with Cornette in his shorthand that he uses, he's like, there was no furniture in the match.
Yeah.
I love how he says that. There's no furniture.
And this is where Brock's shorts start to disintegrate.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, good God. It's like
a year breakdown of epic
Brock,
proportions.
Time to invest in some new shorts, brother.
Well, thankfully, he's not like Al Snow and goes, commando underneath there.
Oh, my gosh.
Because otherwise, that would have been terrific.
That was terrible. Impressive. The top rope Cody cutter was impressive. That was impressive. Good God. Like, look at just to your point, the way they build the emotion, everyone is locked in now.
Oh,
everyone is just emotionally invested in this. And
great catch by Brock there. He definitely caught him as much as Cody landed that.
Yep. A little inner thigh from Brock there with the torn shorts.
Hey, sailor.
Good God.
He's working down by the docks. Anyways,
and so after all this punishment Cody gets, like he's here we go. He's showing some signs again, and then boom, into the Kimura lock.
Yeah.
Which looks vicious, but at the end of the day, he's just holding his arm.
Yeah. Oh,
it looks vicious the way he wrenches on it. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Just insane. Just insane. Cody desperate to get to the ropes. Can he do it? Love it.
He takes a good long time getting there too.
Builds the drama, baby. Builds the drama.
Yeah, and you're totally right. Like the crowd is in on this.
Oh yeah.
They are 100%. Living and dying with everything that Cody's doing. Like they're in on Cody's side. Yeah, and that's what you want.
Yes. Yep. It is. It is. My goodness.
Cody just peroxide all over the place.
Yeah. He almost got it. There it is. Now he's got it. He's got the rope. Break it up, baby. Break it up. Break it up.
What's
Cody's
the conversation
like,
between the two of them is like, Brock, my God, you're a little overhydrated.
He's like practically turning purple.
Being in this lock with you, I feel like I need a swimming lesson.
Brock's like, my shorts are torn. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed. I can't stand for the rest of the match. Oh my gosh.
Got the Franken beans hanging out.
Brock still selling the left arm damage from being outside the ring. Nicely done. But now he's staggering a bit, which is interesting. So both men staggering. Oh, here we go. Are we going to get an F5? And now we have the exposed turnbuckle onto the arm
chest
that is
this
injured.
time.
To the chest, chest and left arm. And now here's the variation. Now Cody puts on the Kimura lock. So no blood and guts here. It is strictly submission.
Which is interesting when you think about, like, has anybody really gotten Brock into a submission hold like this?
I don't think so. Maybe when he first was feuding with Triple H back in like 2012, when because they did a similar thing where he supposedly broke Triple H's arm,
Mm-hmm.
Not in the same way they did it with Cody. The sweat just pouring off of Brock.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna have to mop that ring up afterwards. Good God.
My gosh. Yeah, he is a very sweaty man. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's like
I love that.
I just had an angiogram, Brock. Go get one, brother.
I love how
the heart's working.
I love how he just picks him up and then just slams him down to break
him down. Yeah.
When of course, I mean, as I'm watching that, I'm like, why don't you just use your arm and punch the guy in the ribs? It's literally right there.
Yep.
You know. Yep. But it's much more dramatic when he picks him up one-armed and just drops him.
I mean, what a story.
Here comes the Hulk up from Cody.
Is it hard times, Dusty?
Oh, it's hard times coming for Brock Lesnar right now, baby. Oh, you're going to get funky. Oh, here we go. And
here we go. Crossroads number 1. Boom. Hit it. Oh, my gosh. His shorts are completely disintegrated. Good Lord.
Yep.
Man, he head planted him on that one.
Yeah.
Thank God he's got something underneath there.
What is this? It's not the 3 Amigos. So what is this? The 3 Dreams?
Triple Rhodes, baby. And the 1, 2, 3, and Cody Rhodes has conquered the beast.
Yeah. I mean, I was really expecting a kick out there. I really was when I was watching it the first time.
Yeah, I mean, the fact he hit all 3, like he hadn't done that to him yet.
Yeah.
And gotten the pin. So, and Cornette, I don't want to claim credit for this because I heard this from Cornette. He correctly calls out too, like in this match, he doesn't just accidentally pin Brock like he did in match number 1. This was definitive. This was a victory. He put him away with 3 consecutive clean crossroads. And,
I mean that doesn't happen for like big stars like Brock. Like very few times do you get a clean win over them without something happening. No run in, no as Corny put it, no furniture, no shenanigans, no nothing. Just beat his ass.
And the story coming into this was what sold everyone. Like it goes back to the Sami Zayn bloodline stuff. I mean, you've got to have a strong story, and that strong story coming in helps enhance this match. And it's one of the reasons I was excited to see it because I wanted to see where they were going to take this match.
Yeah.
So now this is interesting here. So they're both looking at each other. Cody's somewhat celebrating. They're both holding their respective left arms. Now, Lesnar's taking the gloves off, which I found interesting.
The ref is holding up like he's going to count something. I'm like, dude, what are you planning on doing here?
Match is over. If Brock goes off, Brock's going off. There ain't nothing you're going to get him. Ringing the bell's not going to stop him. So,
like Paul Heyman said, work or shoot, the result is the same.
Yes. So this is going to be so what's interesting about this is that the result is usually the same every time. He usually comes in and he beats him up or throws him in an F5, and according to Triple H and Cody as well, this was unplanned. So Brock and Cody are forehead to forehead. Brock kind of nudges him away, puts out his hand though, shakes his hand, no F5, pulls him in for a hug. This was I thought this was really cool. You've never seen Lesnar do this.
Yeah.
Lesnar has never done this. And so he holds up Cody's hand. I love right there how Cody holds his shoulder like, dude, you're wrenching me here.
Yeah. I'm trying to sell, damn it. I'm trying to sell.
And I love this. I love the finger point at him like you are the guy, and he just walks out. And that, I don't know, his reaction, that kind of tells me that workers are going to work, so maybe it was all planned, but if it was unplanned, that seemed like pure emotion on his face. Like, yeah, he was like, and Cody said, I thought he was going to punch me.
Yeah.
He said, I thought he was going to punch me.
Dude, if that was a shoot, that's a hell of a shoot. I mean,
absolutely. And Lesnar on his way out was slapping fans' hands. So I think this was a way too for him to kind of, I wouldn't kiss that mat, Cody. Brock sweated all over it.
That was where Brock's buttocks were just moments ago.
All right. Should we pause it here at this point and jump ahead?
Let's do that. We don't need to be discussing Brock's crack sweat at this point.
Oh my gosh. So I have to suffer through an ad here. So bear with me. I have about 45 seconds of ad I got to get through.
All right. Well, I got to go use the bathroom anyway.
All right, you go for it.
So I'll be right back. I think I'm going to have to do this last match standing up because sitting on this stool that I was on was one of the most terrible experiences of my life.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, went to get up. I'm like, I can't feel my ass or my legs anymore.
But the important thing is, are your shorts or pants disintegrating? Because, Brock's dead, apparently.
All right, so we're starting this at 3:09.
I'm queued up, 3:09:10.
Of course, it's not going to let me get back there. Actually, I was off on the time, so he's already at his intro there.
That's all right. We can go ahead and do that.
All right. Okay.
It's a long walk to the ring, so.
It's a long walk to the ring if you want to go to SummerSlam.
Anyways.
Man, look at that.
Yeah.
Nicely done, sir.
All right, so now we are on to match number 2 in our tale of 2 matches. And, sir, anything you want to get into before we roll on this one?
I think we can get rolling, and as these entrances are going to be long, so
Good point.
We can talk through the context and set some context all around as we go through it.
All right, for those who are listening along, I'll have this in the show notes, but the timestamp for the beginning that we're starting at is 3 hours 9 minutes 10 seconds. And that is just after Jey Uso enters the arena. So, do you want to count us down on this one?
I shall. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Here comes Jey.
All right. And for the record, I just want our listeners to know that I am following Michael Cole's lead here, and I'm standing up for the remainder of the show.
There you go.
That dude, I didn't realize, like, you could see a couple times, like, even before the table collapsed, like, he was standing up as he's commentating, and Corey Graves is just sitting there like, I'm not getting up and rumpling this suit.
Yep. Yeah. When there was an announcer, Mauro Ranallo, I think is his name. He used to commentate for NXT. He was amazing to watch because, I mean, like, his calls were phenomenal, but he was a guy who he just got into it. Like, he would be standing and, like, arms going. He's like, oh my God, he'd be like, signaling with his arms and stuff like that. I mean, it's just fun to see someone like that, commentating, but getting into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
crowd is into Jey Uso.
I mean, really, like, to take one half of a very popular tag team in a main event singles match, a lot of it, like what I like about this is how, with this story, when we talked about WrestleMania and Cody not winning, how they're taking this time over the course of this year to try to build up, others, and so with Reigns, this match with Jey, with the Usos splitting off from the bloodline, with Jey, kind of challenging Reigns in what they're calling tribal combat, which is no DQ basically. And I think this is a great showcase of Jey. We'll see as the match progresses if it helps kind of cement him or establish him a bit as a main event level talent. But that's kind of the story going into this. Is we have the Uso, we have a division in the bloodline, civil war, if you will, and Jimmy. An important point here is about 2-3 weeks ago, Jimmy suffered a beating while Jey was kind of, tied up in the ropes at the hands of Solo and Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns. So he is not present right now. And Jey is fighting for, for his brother and for his family's honor to kind of kick out what he perceives to be and is factual in saying is a manipulative and selfish Roman Reigns.
That crowd is just mopping up main event Jey Uso with a biscuit, dude.
They are. This is great.
God,
this is great.
And I agree with your point. I was very unhappy with Cody not winning at WrestleMania, but now looking at it, and as Triple H said at the time, like, the story isn't over, and I'm like, well, what else is there? Well, now we see it, and they've managed to kind of progress these other stories and unwind, and unravel the bloodline story even more.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, I love how this friggin' graphic, they haven't changed it in forever. Like, I don't, that t-shirt he hasn't worn that shirt in how many years now?
Yep.
But hey, why change the graphic? So now did they unite the titles so he only has the one belt? Is that it?
Yeah.
Like
so
the unified?
on the anniversary or on the commemoration of his 1,000-day reign, Triple H presented him with what is essentially the Undisputed Championship, which is meant to be the unification of the WWE and Universal Championships. So the lineage of the Universal title continues through in the Undisputed title.
Okay, and then the title that Seth Rollins has.
Yes, that is the World Heavyweight Championship. So that is now what I don't like about that is because I think the original World Heavyweight Championship is tied in with the WWE title, which is what Roman has.
Yeah.
I don't think it's tied to, the big gold belt from WCW or anything like that. I think it's its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's an impressive looking belt though. I mean, it's same design basically, but just the fact that it's all gold, I don't know, just kind of stands out.
That belt to me is kind of meh. I actually like the belt that Rollins has now. What I guess is the World Heavyweight Champion. I like that belt better. Same as I like the belt that Rhea Ripley's got, as opposed to the titles that the ladies have had, forever. Yes. I'm digging those a lot more now.
I mean, they basically align the men and women around the same set of belts. So there's the women's title that looks like Roman Reigns, and then you have Rhea Ripley's title, which, like you said, looks like Seth's. So they're basically aligned on the same, same basic belts for the men's and women's division.
Yeah.
I still think this is the best intro music. I mean, I didn't like it the very first time I heard it 3 or so years ago when he first debuted this character, but my God, is it just turned into just this, it just sets the tone. You know what I mean? It sets the tone for him being this, long reigning champion who cannot be defeated. And it just, I don't know. It sets a tone and it sets an attitude, and and it has a main event feel to it.
Yeah, well, you're right, and it's just operatic.
Yes,
it's operatic. Yes. It's like you've got Thanos walking down the friggin' aisle, and which actually ties into something that a Roddy Piper story that he was telling about how he got out of an event and he was walking down an alley, I forget, in some city. And there's these guys at the end of the alley who look like they are nothing but trouble. And he said, I remember what the old timer said, just walk slow. Nobody wants to F with a guy who's walking slow. A guy who's like, yep, there might be a fight. I'll get there. Fight will be waiting for me. I'm in no rush.
Frickin' Heyman. Look at him.
Oh,
Heyman's just...
I've been watching a couple of interview shows with him, and it's been really interesting. Gosh, it's something that WWE does on Fox with the dude, and it's a luchador mask is part of the logo. I'll try and find it. But anyways, it's been interesting listening to him talk about his partnership with Roman Reigns and stuff like that, and just how, in this point in his career, how choosy he's been in working with with Brock and then working with CM Punk and now working with Reigns and just the differences that he has and how he distinguished, how he was the advocate. Now he's, the advisor, the special counsel, and all that. It's great.
The facials that Roman and Jay are making at each other are just interesting. It's they don't want to be there, but they want to rip each other apart.
Yeah. So just for the record, Roman Reigns is just now stepping into the ring. We are about 7.5 minutes into intros.
I think Cornette clocked it in at about 12 on the intros. 12 minutes.
It's insane. I get it, but at the same time, we got to speed this up a little bit.
It sets the tone, man. It sets the tone. It's incredible.
It does, but that's also why we have a 4 fracking hour pay-per-view here.
I know.
Stuff like this, Anyways.
Incredible.
It is. It's impressive. I will give you that. And I do appreciate the fact that Reigns has been doing this shtick, even before he had the belt for this long, almost like an assumption of this is who I am. Dress for the job that you want. Well, I want to be, this guy.
Yep. Absolutely.
And he does, and he gets a huge pop and reaction, even though he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
All right. So we have some introductions here. Oh, he's going to say something.
Oh, no. We have to get the...
Oh, right.
His finally moment.
Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge me.
Be great if he just did Detroit Rock City.
Yeah. Oh, SummerSlam, not Detroit. Okay.
Kind of looks like Roman did a little hair coloring because he had some gray before, but he's...
Yeah, you're right.
And I love how, again, he's a bad guy, but he gets the reaction on this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I love Jay with his back to him.
Oh, and Heyman handing the microphone back in the most condescending way possible. Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. That dude is just awesome.
All right. Now we're finally at introductions.
So we actually got they tried to rip off Mortal Kombat with the tribal combat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now the only thing to be better is right when the bell rings is like, fight.
Yes. I'm surprised they didn't also say this was for the title of Tribal Chief. I acknowledge
is it
Tribal Chief?
That'd be great.
That's part of it.
That'd be great if it's almost like a divorce and who gets Heyman? Who gets custody of Paul Heyman?
Man, that is crazy. Jay's getting a great reaction.
Oh,
yeah. A great reaction. I did read speculation. They were wondering if he was going to come out and do the old like tribal war dance that he and his brother used to do when they first, debuted, because it was kind of a unique, distinct thing that they were doing.
Look how Heyman's working that necklace. It's almost like he's doing a rosary.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that, just sort of turning the head.
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
I love him pantomiming while...
Yep. Oh, it's lovely.
Oh,
Paul Heyman is a delight.
Love you, Paul. You
know what? If there's one person who gets like the Picard, like artificial, body, I vote Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
I'm because I know I'm not going to get it. I've been too much of an a-hole. Ain't nobody voting for me. I'm voting for Paul. I'm pulling the Jack Sparrow. I'm pulling the Jack Sparrow move when they do the pirate council there, and I'm voting for the other person instead of myself.
Oh, he's going for the tribal chief lay. Here we go. It's on the line.
Oh,
Paul's beside himself. I mean, look, this is part of what they were going for. Uh-oh. What's Roman going to do? He has the tribal chief red lay. I don't know what the precise name of it is, but he's holding it up. What's he going to say? Oh, if you beat me, I give this to you. Oh, wow, I got it.
Wait a minute, did he just say you get Heyman too?
No.
You know what? I'll see that and I'll raise you. I'm putting
Uncle
Heyman
Todd,
in the pot.
Uncle Todd wants to see Paul Heyman like part of a trade of some kind.
It's like instead of
looks like he's ready to cry.
Oh yeah, instead of the Judy Bagwell on a pole match, we get Paul Heyman on a
chief.
He just said what?
He just said, "I love you, my tribal chief."
How many times do you think he's just trying to get Reigns to crack?
Oh, I don't know. Probably many, many times.
All right.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
Has the bell even rung?
Bell just rang. Bell rang.
So 321. 321, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Uncle Corny had it just about right.
Yep. 12 minutes.
12 minutes of shenanigans before we actually get a bell.
All right.
Well,
now we're finally into the action.
Well,
and they're just standing.
Good God. Jay looks like he's taking a especially painful crap. Like, what was that? The squatting down with the grimacing. Like, is it coming out sideways? What's happening?
Ladies and gentlemen, you know Uncle Todd is wanting this thing to get moving because he is going to the bathroom humor.
Well, you tell me. Come on. Look like It looked like the man was in distress. He needed some Pepto-Bismol or something.
Oh, collar and elbow tie. There it is.
Oh,
a little bit of push. A little bit of push. A little bit back and forth. A little bit of a slower start compared to Brock and Cody.
Well, yeah. But
which is expected because, I mean, as much as Jay is, wants this match, I mean, you could have made a case that he would want to tear Roman apart because of what he did to his brother, but
this is every Roman Reigns match.
I know. Like how we just waved off the crowd, like, you're a bunch of ants.
Ant boot.
My gosh, we're going to the headlock routine here? Good Lord, people.
Oh, right. and now we're going to the shoulder block. Yeah.
No, there we go.
All the old school tricks, baby.
Yeah, this is like 1984 all over again.
We gonna get a Russian leg sweep at some point?
Come on, Roman. Let's not milk this match. Come on, let's get going.
We are fully into the milking. Fully. Gonna milk this mofo like a cow that ain't ever been milked.
So, Uncle Todd, this is your first time seeing this match.
It is, and already I'm tired. I'm regretting standing up for this. I'm weary. My soul is weary.
Tomorrow morning, your wife's gonna be like, "What's wrong with your back?" It's like I couldn't sit, I couldn't stand. I was in hell.
Damn that Roman Reigns. Now is Roman okay? I didn't know if he was sniffing his glove. Like, what's going on? For God's sake, we were here for a wrestling match. Would you wrestle something?
I don't want to see you rub your nose.
Oh, good. A headlock. All right, this is exciting stuff. And Roman still hasn't figured out how to not get a belt loop in the back of his friggin' combat pants so you don't see his undies every damn time. I don't understand. Like, this has been years, and he's on the verge of a wardrobe malfunction every single match.
I wouldn't say to the level of Brock's wardrobe malfunction. I mean, for crying out loud, Brock was pretty much walking out of there with nothing.
Yeah, this is like a grass skirt.
Oh my gosh!
Like Brock as a hula girl, which I mean, let's just face it, that's not something any of us need to see.
No.
Yep, and here we go. We're just taking our time. We're just meandering along.
Stepping on Jay's head.
We've taken 12 minutes of introductions and walking.
I think he's smelling his glove again. I think he's going to smell his glove again.
No, he's smelling his finger, which makes
Wasn't that from Spinal Tap, Smell the Glove?
Yes.
Okay.
The smelling his finger makes me very nervous.
Jay might have lost one of his gold teeth. I don't know.
He's looking for a contact at this point. Okay, here we go.
Where's my bicuspid?
We got a knee to the face, and now Roman's staring out at the crowd wistfully. He's counting the amount of money he's making for this match.
I gotta say, I had a few bourbons in me, so this match did not feel this slow when I was watching it. But I might have been, I don't know, navigating other parts of the internet and reading about things. And
after a bottle of Koval, anything looks good.
Well, that's true.
Oh, here we go.
All right,
we got
Jay firing up a little bit, getting some punches off here. Very nice. Well, and I should say, too, when we're talking about the context of this match, it is important to note at Night of Champions, the Usos defeated Roman and Solo with, I believe, Jay pinned him. Pinned Roman. And then they had a singles match, I believe, where he pinned him. I think it was at Money in the Bank.
So at this point, why are we even having this match? Shouldn't he have...
Well, because nothing was on the line. Or maybe it was on SmackDown he beat him. I don't remember exactly. He got us... Yeah, it was a one-on-one, I believe, with a pinfall. And... I believe it was a one-on-one. Let me look that up while the match is going.
And right here is why the count out was so good in the Brock Cody match, because here these guys have been out here for about a minute and a half, and we would have been at about a 30 count, but nope, the ref is now outside going, "Hey, are you all right? Count, ref, count, for God's sake." We could have been done by now. Oh, now Jay's going to do a construction project. Okay, what are we doing here? Hey, ref,
are we getting to the furniture?
Oh, wait a minute. No, so this is no DQ. That would make sense. Okay, So maybe there is no. But I swear he was counting at one point. Anyways, so now Jay is consulting the crowd, which is always a good move. We are just killing time.
Yes. All right, I am looking up money. So Money in the Bank 2023.
Oh, what do we got for toys underneath here? There's a case of water.
Oh, there you go. That's a weapon.
Oh,
that's a peddling.
Devon. Oh, wait, never mind. One of them special WWF tables.
Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm sorry. The Usos defeated Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, and that's where Jay pinned Roman and that was the first time he had been pinned in 3 years. So it was in a tag match. So I was mistaken. Oh my gosh. Heyman just cracks me up.
We only took
happening.
10 minutes for that to happen. Oh my gosh. Jay Uso is playing Wile E. Coyote here.
Yeah. I do have to say I'm impressed with Roman Reigns' ability to jaw jack with the fans. It is pretty funny.
Well, yeah, he takes long enough in between frickin' phrases.
Like, Jay's even rolling in slow motion. Like, it's almost like they asked him move at 1/4 speed. Mr. LaForge, 1/4 impulse power.
I know. It's like both of these guys look like they're fairly good shape. Like, what's the point? Why are we going this slow? Like, I get it that you want to take your time.
I have the answer.
This pace is glacial.
I have the answer. They're afraid they're going to slip in the ring because of Brock's sweat.
the oil slick from the SS Lesnar.
Well stated, sir.
Everyone who goes out there, watch out for the middle of the ring. It's mucky out there.
Oh, man.
It's greasy, I tell you.
That was kind of vicious, taking him by the head, throwing him back into the turnbuckle like that. That was vicious.
Which, again, I mean, I get that you want this pace to be slower.
He's smelling his glove again, I think.
Again, yeah. Where has that glove been? Actually, you know what? Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Oh, now the crowd's chanting Usos, and Roman's not liking it, shaking his he's waving them off. It's like, no.
Oh, seriously?
I don't want this.
Okay, good. I thought for a minute he was covering his ears.
Oh, he's trying to shush them. He's trying to shush them.
So this is the
that
thing
always goes over well.
This is the thing I don't dig about this right here is because Roman has always seemed like he's in control, and that just seems like very out of character. Like not as in like he might be losing it or something like that, like heading that direction. Like it just seems okay. That was a kind of an impressive move.
Drive by, boom.
Ain't no way I can jump up that high. So that's always impressive to me. But it seems a little out of character.
Yeah.
You know, out of where his character would be right now. But anyways, that's some good air right there. That's a big man flying through the air.
That is. That is.
How tall is Roman Reigns?
I think he's 6'4".
That's a large individual. Of course, I mean, you know, he's well rested because he's not doing anything.
Well, that's true.
Good, sweet mother of God.
6'3". I was 1 inch off.
And I wonder if that's the shoot height or if that's like, you know, like Hulk Hogan's 6'8". Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
38 years old. He's 38 years old.
I know. He popped up when I looked at Brock Lesnar's age. I was like, dang. And LA Knight is, I think we looked him up before. He's like 42 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
But his whole thing, like, you know, because he was in an interview and they mentioned about, you know, is there hesitancy to use him because of his age? And you know, his response is he's like, I've actually, and I think he mentioned this too in the Sheamus workout video, that the way he works out, he really is cognizant of the wear and tear he's putting on his joints. So his workouts tend to be, you know, not as intense on them. And so he's avoided injury, which got on him. And just doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his body. So he's just like, I'm not really worried about it because I've kind of managed, you know, that wear on me, over the course of the career. So,
which, I mean, that is a thing. Like I'm totally aware. So, I mean, yeah, that was a pretty good crack right there.
Ooh.
But I mean, I'm aware, you know, when I'm lifting,
Kendo
you know, I'm
stick.
47. I'm always cognizant of like how are my joints feeling right now?
Yeah.
You know, do I need to back off and all that? Like, you totally need that. And then you consider just the freaking workload. of like touring and everything like that. Yeah, you totally have to.
Yep.
All right, so now
kendo stick. Kendo stick is rough.
I mean, I know it is. I say, oh, it doesn't look that bad, but I can't, I'm not signing up to get hit by that thing, not willfully. Like, that's the thing. Like, you think about like someone digging that out in a real fight and you're getting hit with it. Like, that's one thing. It's a real fight. Like, this is all stuff that like you're like, yeah, go ahead and do that to me. Like, you're in full agreement. Like, that is one of the parts of professional wrestling that is kind of like, just wow. Okay, so you agreed to this. All right.
Yeah.
Right on. Like with Mick Foley and Undertaker and Hell in a Cell, like, these people like each other.
Yeah.
And they're doing these things to each other.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's crazy.
What happened if you don't like them?
I love these like massive blown up photos of people's heads. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
I wonder what it's like being around them though. Like, you see like all those like the videos from like the big music festivals like Glastonbury and all that stuff, and people have like the flags and the signs and all that. And I'm like, yeah, that seems all cute and stuff, but what if you're like 2 rows behind that guy? And maybe that's just because I'm shorter, so I'm always pissed off at concerts because no matter where I stand or sit, I wind up behind someone who's approximately 6'10" and wearing like a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's just me. All right, Jay getting a little something in here.
Jay's throwing some haymakers now.
I'm totally going John Madden here because this match has been going so slow. I'm going to be John Madden talking about friggin' seagulls.
I mean, as much as I'm not thrilled with the pace of this match, I do like how in these Roman Reigns' matches,
those are crappy punches, man. The first couple were, but that was just. Yeah.
But he works in like dialogue in the middle of the match. It's almost like you're watching kind of a cinematic match in a way. There's way more talking than normally happens in a match.
But that's the thing. Like, I appreciate like, and I'm not saying every match has to be fast paced, because I kind of took the piss out of Ricochet and Logan Paul for being spot heavy and fast, and then kind of praised Lesnar Cody for taking that breathing space. It's the matter of like what you do with those moves. Like, if you're going to show like how vicious your punches are and stuff, like, actually make it look good. Those work punches looked like crap, and then the fact that you only have but like 4 moves, and one of them is this stupid ass Superman punch.
Yeah.
It's like, throw a suplex in there, maybe a body slam. I don't know, something to vary it up so that when you do a move, it's like, ooh, wow, that's something. But it's always it's like Roman Reigns' moveset right now is literally like John Cena has more moves.
That's impressive when the kendo stick breaks, just shatters like that.
Yeah. Again, I'm not signing up to that.
Nice.
Oh. And he rolls halfway to the dog leg.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh. That's some momentum. And the wise man weeps.
The wise man is always covered in sweat.
Not as much sweat as Brock Lesnar.
No.
And at least Paul's wearing a suit.
That is true. My gosh.
I'm guessing those suits are tailored. I don't think
that was
Paul Heyman buys off the rack.
Over the ropes. Jey Uso was a somersault over the ropes onto Lesnar.
You mean Reigns?
Oh, sorry. Did I say Lesnar?
You did. I was talking about sweat though, so it's very easy to get confused.
This match is moving so slow. I think I'm still watching Cody and Brock. I guess I don't know. I'm time shifted.
The man they call Tim is actually developing Alzheimer's during this match. That's how slow it's going.
Ooh, Superman punch in midair. He's out.
Nah.
Jay kicks out. Near fall.
And that was going to be a flying nothing, as Brian Zane would say. Now, what's the difference between a Superman punch and just a punch?
Because he's in the air. Apparently, there's some motion he does with that glove where he locks it. Lock and load.
So stupid.
That's right. I'm buying it hook, line, and sinker, baby.
I used to think the people's elbow and the worm were the dumbest finishing moves ever. Nope. Superman punch every time. Is it a punch?
People's elbow is so entertaining.
It's entertaining, yeah. But the Superman punch is neither devastating nor entertaining. especially when he keeps smelling the glove that he's going to do it with.
Uncle Todd and I are having to fill a lot of dead air in this match.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, and now he's panting like a cat in a 90-degree weather and it's like he's got a fur ball or something.
He kind of looks like one of those toys with the chatter teeth, you know?
A little, yeah.
He's got that going on.
Man, he does.
Oh, he's doing ooh-ah.
When he does that, he's almost like a boa constrictor. It's like his jaw unhinges.
Oh, wow, that was a well-planted super kick. My God.
Oh,
like Jay fell over because I think he mistimed the distance between. Oh, come on, man. So Jay with a super
splash.
Kick.
Yeah.
Oh, his hand's bleeding.
Yeah.
He must have cut him. Oh, he probably cut himself on the kendo stick, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
So super kick, and then Jay does the Uso splash, but only gets 2.
You know, what'd be crazy.
Now he's now look, Jay's rolling at 1/8 impulse power. Look at this.
Oh yeah, he's on thrusters only.
Mr. Crusher, the sail.
Jeez. I mean,
when I listened to Cornette, he and his how did he pull that chair out?
I don't know. I almost wonder, is someone under the ring? Did they hand that to him?
All right, so for the viewing audience, Jay goes to pull the apron up, which I assumed he was then going to reach in and pull something out. And when he pulled the apron up, a chair appeared in his hand. It's like he was just there.
It's almost like it spawned like a video game, like
yeah,
basically selected a chair.
Look at Heyman. Look at Heyman. It's like, don't do this to my tribal chief. He loves you.
Heyman looks like he just got hit himself.
Heyman's like wailing. He's wailing on the outside. It's hysterical.
The next thing he's going to rend his garments in a moment. He's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Full Brock, and his suit's just going to start disintegrating.
Dear God, please no. The world does not need to see that. And you know what? I think Paul would agree with me.
Now Reigns is rolling at 1/8 impulse power. Good God.
Well, but he's been moving at 1/8 impulse power for the past 2 years. That's not shocking. Oh, and here we go. Now what are we getting? He's got a stack of chairs.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Wow.
All righty.
So what you're telling me is this is a table, ladder, and chairs match is what this is boiling down to. It's not tribal combat.
Okay, so why? Oh, we throw all these in there. All right, and now we're gonna sit out here. Yep, it looks like he's in stomach distress again. Okay, we're just meandering around. I mean, the dudes, you got him dead to rights, and you're just meandering around the ring. I mean, again, are we stalling for time? Is there a special guest that's had trouble at the border? I mean, what the hell is going on?
Heyman. Oh my God.
And now we're going to take forever to set Roman up here. Gee, I wonder if he's going to fight back when you go for the superplex. I wonder if Jay is going to get pushed onto those chairs. I think it's a pretty good bet. Pretty good bet. Yep. Thinks better if it goes down to the middle row.
He's thinking about it. Oh, no, never mind. Bet's off.
Oh, now wait a minute. Is that a Superman uppercut? I've lost track.
No, he's not. He's not jumping. It's not Superman unless you're in the air.
Oh my gosh, I hate that move so much.
I know it is. It is kind of a cheesy move.
And Reigns with his red booties.
Ooh, nice kick to the head while Reigns is sitting on top of the turnbuckle. This is. It's like they have like moments of fast action and then they get right back to 1/8 impulse.
Yep. And now he's like, "Don't you sandbag me! Don't you sandbag me!" And Jay's going in.
There's no sandbagging, but there's a power bomb about to be executed on Jey Uso on the chairs.
I'm surprised. It looked like Roman was going to slide on one of those chairs.
Oh my gosh! I love Roman with like the mouth wide open as he's doing the pin. What do I have to do to put this man away?
He almost unhinges his jaw again, like he's going to take down a particularly juicy rat.
Yes. I look
perhaps
brutal, though. On
perhaps
those
a
chairs.
guinea pig. All right,
Good
and now,
Lord. Where are we now here? Okay.
And now Reigns is sitting on the apron because, again, it's not. We're getting too fast paced. There was actually like 3 things that happened in under a minute. We need to slow the F down. Now, what are we going to go under? We still got that one friggin' table underneath there. Now we're setting up another table. And Reigns can't seem to figure out how to set up a table.
It is interesting when they have to pull this stuff out. How they have to work through the geometry of how to do this. The
thing is, they don't even use those tables down at ringside anymore. Like it used to be, you could figure that, they used to actually use the banquet tables for the commentary and all that. Now they don't even use those. So what the hell would they be doing under the ring anyways?
I don't know.
Same with a ladder. Like, why is there a ladder underneath there, though? You're not going to change a light bulb.
Uh-oh. He's leaning it.
Oh, here we go.
He's leaning it.
And, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Gosh.
Roman's got him up for a Samoan drop. There's 2 tables here set up. One of them's going down. One of them's going down.
It's just going to take us another 12 minutes to get there. And Jay is going to very slow. No, he fights back. No, non-Superman punch. Non-Superman punch.
It's a non-super. He has to be in flight in order for it to count as a Superman punch.
All of 4.5 inches off the canvas is that extra added force of gravity.
My God, these punches.
Yeah.
It'd be funny as if he slipped and fell and he just kind of laid on the table didn't break because it was just so slow.
Well, just because he fell like a giant sack of crap,
basically. That was a nasty looking uppercut. Not a Superman punch though, because again, no flight, no flight.
It was borderline. There was a little hippity hop. It was like a little bunny hop. Oh, dear God. Okay, at least stuff is happening. At least stuff is happening here.
At least Roman's moving more than 1/4 impulse.
Oh, he's got Roman up off his feet, and much like my rotund cat, Roman does not like being up off his feet. He gets nervous. Gets very nervous when he's up off his feet. Oh, here we go again, and 1 table down.
Oh,
where's Heyman? Heyman's down on 1 knee, ladies and gentlemen.
That looked vicious.
I'm surprised he didn't just rend his garments. Oh, no!
You better be thankful he's not rending his garments.
Again, I'm very glad.
Oh, my gosh.
He better have a spare suit underneath that one. And now just frozen, staring at Jey Uso. Oh, he got
Jake
back
keeps
up.
grabbing that hand that's bleeding.
The thing is, after all of this, he's just like, I got a splinter.
Now, see, what they should have done is Jay gone under the ring and Jimmy come out and then, wrestle for a bit and then go back under. That's what they should have done.
The old which Uso is it trick.
Exactly.
Now is he reaching under the ring for God's sake? What else is under there? What is that? Oh, is it a strap? Okay.
Oh, there's a strap. All right, I clearly started this match well past this point. I think I don't remember this at all. So I don't think I actually saw this from the beginning. Ooh.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
You're whipping him like a government mule. Ooh.
Are you watching
Roman Reigns' left elbow is all sort of messed up.
Oh, he definitely caught part of that table.
Yeah, he did. I love that. Just go right into the camera and get out of my way.
Yeah.
He didn't say that, of course.
Get out of my way. I need to go into the crowd.
I need to be with my people.
Where's Roman going? He's pulling the James Brown routine. Someone put a cape on him. Please don't go.
Now, here's the thing.
That would be great if when they start doing that.
Here's the thing: if they're going to start brawling in the crowd, we got to have a concessions vendor with some drinks available here, and I want to see Jay grab Stone Cold style.
Wait, here we go.
Have a sip.
Have himself a little water.
Oh, there he is. He's hydrating. No. Get the bottle and beat him over the head with it.
Nah. He's got bigger things. This rando table that's just mysteriously set up here.
Ah, the old rando table.
A couple spools of cable. Oh,
where did Solo come from? Look, I love how Roman lands like sitting. Just like lands sitting.
Solo. Solo.
See, you did that much better than I tried. I sucked at that. Oh, now we're gonna. Oh, don't. Hey, that Solo. Come on. They set dressed that for a half hour. Vince had to call in 2 different orders to change those spools from the left to the right.
He's like, little brother, my rear end. Ba-bam.
That's a pretty... And again, now Solo's picked up the pace of this match, and now he needs to shuffle on off somewhere else. Mm-hmm. We got to slow this thing down again.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're just going to sit here and stare for a while. Who is that? Someone in the crowd yelling, Solo, don't do it?
Yeah.
It's
crazy. All right, now we got Solo moving at 1/10 impulse power, trying to pull Jay, who's at 1/8.
Oh yeah, they're all in space dock at this point. Thrusters only. Thrusters only.
Look at how, and Jay's trying to help him. Look at him.
Yeah, he's trying to push him faster. Come on, dude.
Well, now we understand why the women's matches got cut. Good Lord.
Oh, I can only imagine. What were the women's
about that? But Becky Lynch and oh gosh, what's her name? Not Tori Wilson. I can't think of her name.
Trish Stratus?
Trish Stratus, thank you. I think they were supposed to have a match, and I had read it got cut due to time concerns.
Are you serious? They got cut off the card completely?
Yeah. They're going to wrestle when they're in Winnipeg, I think.
Oh. Dude,
for Raw.
All right, so where are we at here? We started at 3:09, 40 fracking minutes.
Oh my gosh. Good
Come
Lord.
on, dude.
I guess I should have timed this out a little bit more. Sorry, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have one of those episodes that Podbean won't upload directly to YouTube. Yeah, we found that out. Oh, and hey, while we got some time to kill here. Oh, wait, actually, some stuff might be happening here.
Wait, so Solo might be getting the Samoan spike out. Here we go.
No, we're just gonna do another slam. He's gonna scream. Roman just pointing at the sky. Okay.
I gotta say, I love Solo's like yelling after he does something vicious. He's very animated, and then he has to kind of recover from it. He's like huffing and puffing now. And Roman's like, yes, you move at the same pace as me.
So I want to know what this spike thing is. Like, what is this? Does he have like
he jams his thumb into someone's throat, basically.
Well, I know, but is this like an Iron Mike Sharp situation where he's had this cast forever? Cowboy Bob Orton?
He always has his fist taped like that, which to me has to be very uncomfortable because one's thumb sticking out like that all the time is going to probably snag something at some point.
What?
Oh, Solo gets the spear.
All right. Now business is picking up.
My theory is, I think they are. Oh, there we go. Nice spear from Jay. Oh,
the thing is, like, I can't. Okay, so the crowd is now back into this.
Yeah,
but I still can't defend just how slow this is. Like, this is almost like they're into it in spite of the fact that you're moving so slow.
Yes,
there is gears between where they are and where and like too fast. Like, you can go up a gear or two, and this still would be effective and dramatic. It's just taking for fracking ever. Yeah. Like, you're going to take away a Becky Lynch match to give me, like, you couldn't cut 15 minutes off of this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm. Well, here's my prediction, because this is based on what we saw from Cody and Brock and what we're seeing here. I think we are going to be headed toward a Reigns Rhodes 2 at WrestleMania.
Which is fine. But what
and I think they will do from a storytelling perspective, is Reigns will be going into that match alone. Maybe with Heyman. But Solo will be no more. They are planting the seeds for Solo to roll off. So
it's just the slow disintegration of the tribal, of the
exactly
of the family,
of the bloodline. Yeah. But that spear that he nailed on Solo, I think is indicative of, over time there's going to start to be dissension on his side, and then he's going to find himself flying solo.
Hi.
See what I did there? Bye.
I mean, you only telegraphed that from about 5 minutes ago. Now, nice job trying to edit that.
Yeah.
A little slow on the bleep button there, buddy. Whoever's working the sound mix. I'm pretty sure that was an F-bomb, and then they managed to mute like a good half second afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Oh,
here we go. Is there dissension afoot?
You know what? We need a Haku run in.
And not just any Haku. We need to have Haku like circa late 90s when he had the big fro going.
Yeah, full on like sail hair. Yes.
Solo and Roman with the stare down. All right, so I got to be honest with you.
Why is he clutching his stomach at? Is he having?
Because he took a spear. He took the full brunt of the spear.
I was just wondering if the bloodline got a hold of something like bad sushi or something.
Ooh, out of nowhere.
You know, I'm kind of getting tired of that spot of crashing into the timekeeper's area, like the barricade gives away. Like, it feels like that happens way too often, even though it's probably like once or twice a year. Like, that's just far too often, you know?
I feel like at this point I need to apologize for suggesting we re-watch this match, because, man, I clearly must have joined at the tail end. And
as well you should, sir.
Good Lord.
Oh, and how did the commentary table get put back together?
Well, they have a stack of tables under the ring. They probably picked one up and repurposed it. So
yeah, Michael Cole out there with his Black and Decker. That was a terrible drill
Solo.
sound.
Don't do it, Solo. Don't do it, Ooh.
And Solo gently places himself up on the little assist from the crowd.
Nice. Well, we now have the announce table destroyed not once, but twice.
Well, it might have been 3 times. Something else might have happened during this thing that we don't know about.
That's true.
I feel like this match is like watching an entire pay-per-view unto itself.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, and that fracking third table is still set up in the corner. And there's Roman's like 13th spear of the night. Is that going to finish him off?
Another spear. Oh, here he goes. Jay's going for the splash. 3 spears in. 3 splashes in. Are we going to get a pinfall here or not?
Of course not.
Hooks the leg.
Who's this?
1, 2. What?
Oh, I'm guessing this is Jimmy.
You'll see.
Yep.
I am not my brother's keeper. It's not just Jimmy. Come on, Michael Cole. It's Jimmy with a stink eye. That's a severe stink eye right there. And look at Heyman behind him. It's like he's projecting the stink eye through Jimmy.
Do it.
Oh, my gosh. Jimmy just staring him down. Just staring him down.
Just
Heyman staring down Jimmy. Jimmy staring down Jay. Roman smelling the glove again.
Absolutely nothing happening. Dear sweet God. Okay, I get it. Pause for a moment, but come on. Something.
So I don't know quite where they're going to go with this, because
that was a terrible super kick. Terrible. Missed him by a mile.
Jimmy took a beating. I see it being a jealousy thing where it's like, he gets his tail kicked, and then, his brother's out there calling himself Main Event Jay and all this stuff, and he just had enough or whatever. Like, I get going that way, but the question is he aligned with Roman or not? Because Yeah, see, like Roman's even perplexed.
Oh, yeah.
Either that or he smelled something in his glove that he didn't care for. So,
For someone who's supposed to be in charge, Roman looks perplexed a lot.
He does.
Which, I mean, there's so many political jokes to go with there. I'm going to avoid all of them.
2, 3.
And there we go.
Game over. Brother betrayed by brother. Yes, he is still the undisputed Universal WWE Champion.
Is it really undisputed? Because if it's undisputed, what's all the fighting for?
I don't know. No one can make an argument that they can claim the title other than he.
I guess.
All right, shall we pause it and commentate for a moment before closing the ranch up for the evening?
Oh, dear God, please. Yes, it's done.
All right. Well, I threw in there a quick summation of comparing these two matches. I think I can do it in 2 words: fast and slow.
God, please, no!
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
You are worse than Hulk Hogan.
Amen, Sheiky. Your thoughts, sir, between so just a quick comparison: Cody and Brock versus Jay and Roman. What do you think?
I'm sitting down. Oh my gosh, that. Okay, well, here's the thing. All right, first match, Cody versus Brock. Made me feel like, wow, okay, this is unusual. This is different. This is how you do drama, and you do it without having to do a whole lot of stuff. There's no run-ins, as Uncle Corny says. There's no furniture. There's not, and the way that it works within the context of professional wrestling. That it takes place in the ring and the rules of professional wrestling, and that reality. You know what I mean? The second match sucked my will to live by about minute 20, which, given how it was 12 minutes of intros, was only 8 minutes into the match. And I was already like, just somebody shoot me. Just somebody shoot me. Like, I was hoping for my basement to flood and I would drown. And then, of course, we have to go into all the shenanigans. We have to have, you don't get just one run-in, you get 2 run-ins. And then we have to have the tables, and then we have to do this. And then on top of all of that, which all of that could work, all of that can work within the context of this. Yeah. But you're moving so bloody slow.
Yeah.
And the same 4 or 5 moves over and over again, and not even a particularly interesting, dramatic way. Just because, well, we got to do something, so I guess Roman's going to do another spear, or we got to do something, so Roman's going to try and Superman punch.
Yeah.
Like, dear sweet God, I mean, it's infuriating because Roman, the character of Roman Reigns works. And having him as the top dog in the WWE works. The problem is, in most of these situations, if you go, I mean, actually, this is just occurring to me right now because, well, I'm probably slow. If you go back to Sammy, you go back to Cody, now you get into Jay. Roman Reigns is the least interesting part of all of those stories. He is the least interesting part of them. He is the most. I say that because, and granted, I mean, one side is going to have a little bit more complexity than the other because one is, being the bad guy, like Vader in episode 4. You don't need to know that Vader is, all the backstory of Vader. You just know that he's scary. That's all he has to be because he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
But eventually you have to start learning some more about that character. The character has to become a little more interesting and a little more integral to the story. All of these stories are just not that he is the least interesting part of it. He is that same thing, and it's the same damn Roman Reigns match.
Well,
and I get it. Like I get that
yeah.
that you're trying to make them the heel, and that he gets the help, and he gets this and that, and they're protecting him and all. I get all the business reasons and all that. But when you put the whole package together, him not being that interesting and not really getting that many more layers, and not doing it in a particularly exciting way, or the same style of match, the same sort of finish, the same sort of way the thing progresses, how friggin' slow it is.
Yeah.
You put all that together, and it's just, you get to a point where it's like, okay, now where you had me with Roman Reigns, actually, like, and you remember, like, go back in our archives and listen to me talk about Roman Reigns, like 4 years ago. I couldn't have disliked this character more. It was humanly impossible. And then listen, like a year ago, and I was getting it, and I was in on the character, I was on board. You're pushing me back to where I was before.
Yeah.
And I think inevitably you're going to push the fans back there too, where you were trying to shove him down the fans' throats before, and they just weren't having it. I think eventually you are going to get to that point. But as soon as he's not in a pro, if they try and keep this character the same, and as soon as he's not in a character with a compelling guy like a Sami Zayn, like a Jey Uso, or a Cody Rhodes, where the stakes are really high because of that other guy, you put Roman Reigns in a match with anybody, like back with McIntyre or whoever, and they don't have that same, like, you need the help of the heel to sell the thing. It can't just be sold all on the baby face. Oh, the fans are going to turn on him because it'll be boring as hell.
I have a slightly different take on it.
Okay.
So I understand where you're coming from, but I may not necessarily 100% agree. I think this match,
lay it on me, Daddy. Lay it on me.
I think what was missing here was, I think Jay should have brought the fire. I don't think Jay should have been running at the same pace as Roman. I think what I like that they've done with Roman, and you know, yes, it could be that they're getting to the end of you know, the gas with this character, but I like the fact that he is he is more of a strategic and sort of plotting sort of character, where, you know, he, like, in the first 2 years of his reign, he wasn't as dependent on getting help. You know, he was superior, he was brutal, he, you know, soundly defeated all of the, you know, opponents put in his way, and he wasn't really as reliant on, you know, the bloodline around him. You know, kind of toward the end of, you know, as we're into year 3 here and stuff like that, and the bloodline has fallen apart, he's more reliant on, you know, those, you know, interference and those forces coming to play, Solo showing up and that sort of thing. And so what I think they need to do is they've got to start changing up the match pace, like we talked about. They got to start changing up the formula of the matches, where, you know, you have people who are bringing the fight to Roman, and Roman's, you know, rather than dominating, is kind of just scraping to get by. I think they got to be working up to that crisis of confidence, which he has portrayed extraordinarily well. Like, before the bloodline broke up, some of the most interesting promos with him and scenes on SmackDown had to do with, you know, him processing Sammy becoming more popular than him, and him processing, you know, the fact that, you know, he was losing his grip and his hold on his you know, twin cousins. You know, like, that's when Roman's interesting, when he's showing that vulnerability. And so I think they need to bring, you know, they need to keep threading that, but they also need to, like, this match really stuck out in that they need to change the pace. It's got to move on from slow plotting talk. I mean, keep the talking smack in there, but amp up the pace of it. You know, like either have him be dominant, or have it be Jay as a house of fire coming in and really trying to get retribution for his brother, and not turn it into this, like, really, I mean, this was really slow. And you know, all transparency, you know, I listened to Cornette's review on the train on the way home, and he and his co-host were just harping on that. And I didn't fully understand it. I'm like, man, I only saw the tail end of the match, I think. And that's why
and
I
now
stone
cold sober.
That too. And I'm just like, wow. without the bourbon, this was kind of a slow roll here. So
Yeah.
So I very much think when we talk about tale of two matches, I really feel like you saw with Rhodes and Lesnar the strength of a story, the kind of a bit of impromptu with kind of the end of the match, but also a very consistent story being told in the match, and even threading in things from prior matches, which just kind of leveled up, the just the detail and the depth to the emotion that the match brought, and it hooked everyone. The main event was just, it was rough to get through. I fully agree with you. It was a rough one to get through, and that's where I think they need to start changing up the formula with his matches. I think he can be an interesting character as a vulnerable yet dominant champion, but they got to change up the formula, and this was a big spotlight on that.
Yeah. I don't agree that he can be an interesting character.
We're slow. The pendulum is slowly swinging back to the negative 4,000 stars that you once assigned.
I'm trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, but I just think that you've at a certain point you do enough damage to a character, or you neglect the character, and I think that might be closer to where we're at. I don't think the character has been fatally wounded. But I think the character has been neglected long enough, and you've gone past the point where now you are stuck with a Roman Reigns match.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's maybe it's his. I don't know what his moveset ability level is as a worker, but I don't remember that much of anything before seeing just this series of Roman Reigns matches, which are all basically the same, and it's kind of veering into Hogan-esque territory.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be ba-da, and that's it.
Yeah. That's not interesting, and that's not going to hook people. So
no, it isn't. So I just don't know what you're going to do with this character to make it better.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
But I agree. I see your points. I just don't know where this is getting better, and to me, it's still no excuse. So let's do this. Let's finish this up this way, because we are hurtling towards midnight here on the East Coast.
Yes.
So if we had to give some star ratings, let's go with Lesnar and Rhodes first. What would you give for a star rating for our first main event of the evening?
I would give that 4.5. I mean, that was damn near perfect for a final third in a trilogy of matches. And as we talked about, it told the right story. It flipped on its head, Cody's promise of, embarrassing Lesnar, and turned into Lesnar, in a lot of ways, just trying to put Cody down, doing the thing he couldn't do from the second match, and weaving in, items from the first match. So yeah, I think this was damn near perfect. And honestly, the ending was a nice surprise. Like you just don't see Lesnar do that. And if there was ever a ringing endorsement for Cody moving forward, Lesnar did a great thing for him, as much as Cody did for Lesnar in terms of shining a light on his, viciousness. And so, so I'm going to give that 4.5.
I'm tempted to go 5, but I'm going to agree with you, 4.5, because there are some nits to pick there. It was not a perfect match, but I mean, like you said, it was damn close, close.
Yeah.
So if you had to give a star rating for our final main event of the evening, for Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns, what would you give it?
I'm going to actually give it 2.5. The pacing really stood out. I mean, there were some good, sequences in there. But like we talked about, I think the pacing killed this match, and it really impacted the ability to connect with it. When you're sitting here watching and you're just asking yourself, when is this going to end? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you something isn't clicking the right way. And so, I think they had a good story going into it. I just don't think they paced the match out the right way. And in some ways too, the overabundance of chairs and all the weapons and stuff. I mean, I know they were trying to go for this tribal combat thing, but I think there could have been a better way to frame the match as well. And it just didn't feel like anything different or special. It just felt like, I mean, honestly, if they just brought a ladder in, it would have been a TLC match. So
True.
So I'm going to go 2.5. Pacing needs to be better, and they've got to switch up the Reigns formula because it's getting stale. It's getting stale. So
yeah, I just remembered that I did see one other match on this show. I watched the Baszler Rousey match.
Yes, yep.
So I will say, just based on what I watched, at the very least, Reigns Uso wasn't the worst match of the night.
No, that's fair.
Because that went to Rousey and Baszler.
Yeah, it wasn't awful. It was just it just.
Oh no! It was awful. Yeah. It just wasn't the most awful.
Okay.
I give it 1 star.
Oh wow!
And this is the reason why.
Glad it's staying above the 0. It's a positive number. So.
It's damn close. I was damn close to giving it 0 stars, but the only reason I'm going to give it 1 star is because they did manage to keep the crowd, and that's mostly the dramatic, in some cases, I think it's the residual drama of the bloodline falling apart and how people are really just want to see Reigns get his comeuppance and see that whole thing come to the be laid low. That had almost nothing to do with what happened in this match. To me, the fact that you have a main event, like the final match of the night, you drop a match off of your card to give this one more time. This match was given what? Gosh, I closed the window.
It was almost 45 minutes.
Yeah. 45 minutes, and that's not bell to bell, but that's like 45 minutes of like intros and it took up almost an hour of your pay-per-view. And for it to be that slow, plodding, uninteresting, unentertaining, not really dramatic. Like literally, I'm in the same boat as you. Like I was wondering, like, okay, when the hell is this thing going to end?
Yeah. Yeah.
For that to be your main event is inexcusable. Especially when you like for AEW, maybe I could get by it because as we know, Tony Khan is such a mark who's just happy and seemingly seems at times to be just happy to be around the boys.
Yeah.
It's if from one of those companies where someone just has a ton of money and they just want to hang out with the boys and have a good time and be part of wrestling. Then there you can expect something like this. From the biggest sports entertainment company on the planet that's been doing this for a long time, filled with people who have been doing this for a long time, with tons of people involved in this match itself who've been doing this for a long time. And this is what you produce? Inexcusable that you come up with something that is that damn boring. That's it almost defies logic. You would almost think by accident you come up with something better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's almost like you're trying to be that boring.
Yep. I agree.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. If you haven't watched this pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen, do yourself a favor and skip to this match first and then go back and watch the rest of the pay-per-view. If
Watch
anything,
1.5 times.
That might actually, like when you're listening to podcasts, you want to speed that mother up. That might be a good idea for this. Seriously.
It might actually bring the match to a reasonable pace at that point because of how slow they were moving.
It might, but then again, Peacock's player is absolute garbage.
Yeah.
If you're not on a laptop or something, if you're actually using like Apple TV or something like that, it is the worst interface. I don't know how they managed to F up a video player that badly when it's like everyone and their brother is using it, but it's god awful. Because it doesn't actually show you, at least mine on Apple TV didn't show like as you're scrubbing forward. You just had to guess. Like it just tells you the time is moving forward. I'm like, seriously? Every other video player shows you so you can tell. Here you're just guessing blindly. It's like going back to the days when you had a friggin' cassette tape and you were just like kind of fast forwarding and guesstimating where the next song's going to start. But yeah, maybe just like skip around Brock and Cody and then watch that last and pretend it was the last match of the night, and you'll walk away happy. That would be my advice. Just chop this sucker up.
Mm-hmm.
But dear God,
yeah, that was rough. That was a rough second match. Oh.
Now Rousey Baszler, I would bad whatever. The Shayna
bet at this point,
I would have 0 for that one. That's the only reason. And that's just because they broke all the laws of like, oh, hey, we obviously know this is a fixed MMA match. You know, and that's the only reason that gets worse. But this was terrible.
Yeah, agreed.
Terrible. Agreed. All right, sir. So again, we are, and I didn't help us by going over on that. So let's try and rush to the end here. What do you got for and another thing this episode, sir?
And another thing.
This is a book that it took me a long time to get through it. It's not that it's not an easy read. I'm not very disciplined in my reading, but it is a long book. But it was interesting to me to understand a bit more about really the service that is potentially bringing this podcast to you, Spotify. It's called the Spotify Play, and I put in quotes. The subtitle is "How CEO and founder Daniel Ek beat Apple, Google, and Amazon in the race for audio dominance." This is by Sven Carlson and Jonas Lejonhifud. But he's really...
Did you actually look up that pronunciation?
I just guessed it on the fly.
Okay.
So
I was wondering because I'm like, damn, that's impressive.
Partially my being tired is probably somewhat to blame here.
True.
Or to credit me, but no, just a really interesting book about about Daniel Ek, who founded the company. Again, just one of these stories where I'm always fascinated just how these big companies come to be and just how close they come to not being, and just all the various challenges that he and his company faced. And, to be honest, Spotify, which we feel like is, as many of us have probably experienced, has been around for a long time, really didn't become a public company until, I think, if I remember right, it was either 2018 or 2019. So they were a startup for like 10 to 12 years, which is not normal.
That's like a Roman Reigns pace for a startup.
Kind of in a way, a little bit of like Jay rolling, out at 1/4 impulse. But no, just a very, very interesting story. Does take a bit to get through, and it's not that it's, like I said, it's not a hard read. It's just, for me, I commit little snippets of time, and I'm not consistent with it, unfortunately. So, but when I was reading it, it was very fascinating to me. A lot of complexity that went into, them trying to find the right, finance, we talked about with streaming services, trying to, get the finance model right. Obviously one of the biggest concerns was, making sure that the artists and the record companies were getting their share, and how would you do that over streaming? And so they came up with some very, novel approaches to it. The book delves into some, some almost like proof of concept or more longer range thinking, kind of things that they tried getting into video, they tried getting into some other realms, and it didn't pan out, so just, good to balance the success with the things that didn't work out. And yeah, just really the journey to get to the point where the company is now. And so I'd highly recommend the book. It was really, really interesting. And these authors do a very thorough job, really dive into not just Daniel Ek, but also, the management team, some of the folks that started the company, and the initial founders and investors, and just how over time, because of the length of time it took them to get to that point, they rotated out, people left and new people came in to kind of get it to a place where it is now. And so just a very, very interesting story. So it's called the Spotify Play, how CEO and founder Daniel Ek beat Apple, Google, and Amazon in the race for audio dominance. Do check it out. Very, very good book.
Very interesting.
How about you, sir? What do you have for your end of the thing?
I'm staying in a literary direction myself. I just finished up a book that I would highly recommend to anyone, because it's terribly funny. Even if you're not a fan of the biography section of your bookstore or library, it is called Windswept and Interesting, my autobiography by musician, comedian, and general funny human being, Billy Connolly. it's a great book. It is so funny in places, and also very touching in places, and it's very much kind of in the mode of watching a Billy Connolly show, where there's digressions, there is changes of thought. It's a very interesting thing. One of the things I did not know, which was kind of surprising considering how much I like the background and the making of and kind of how the sausage is made. I did not realize that he never had a set per se when he went out to do a show. And this is a guy who would do a comedy show anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours. The longest show he ever did was 4 hours long. And he never went out with, because comedians usually have their set. They know kind of like how the thing is going to go. And there's some improv in there. He never went out on stage knowing what he was going to talk about.
Wow.
And would do multiple shows in a city, and each show would be different. He would just talk about different things, and it could just genuinely be funny. And that's one of the things that he talks about is, the difference between telling jokes and being legit funny. And back when he worked as a welder in the shipyards, he says the guys there were genuinely funny without telling jokes. They were just funny in the way that they were talking. And so it's very interesting, of course, because I've also listened to a lot of his comedy or watched a lot of his, videos and stuff like that. So as I'm reading the book, I could hear his voice just reading this to me, and it was tremendous. I did not see the audio book, but I think someone turned off the lights on me. That's awesome.
Oh, jeez.
That's great. So for those who don't know, I'm actually I'm down in my basement. So we have two people recording in the basement this week, and yeah, they did. They turned off the lights on me. Luckily, I have one light left. That's awesome. Anyways, this is where the Blair Witch comes in and gets me. But I would, if there's an audiobook version of this, I'm sure it would be tremendous if Billy Connolly is reading it. But I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and from a guy who has seen a lot and done a lot, and is genuinely just one of the funniest people I've ever seen do comedy. And I've watched a lot of comedy.
Nice. Very cool.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with us through what we thought would be a nice, tidy little show, but turned out to be a bit of an endurance contest. But it was fun, of a sort. But thank you all to tuning in, for listening. Thank you to all the members of the Free Range Idiocy congregation for joining us once again as we gather to read from the Holy Scrolls of Idiocy. If you don't know what the hell the Free Range Idiocy congregation is, well, the only thing you have to do to join is you just subscribe to the podcast. That's it. It's a real low bar. We like to think of ourselves as a very low entry level cult, and a friendly one as well. So what you do is you go to freerangeidiocy.com. You can find all of our podcasts there. You can download them individually. You can subscribe right there through the Podbean app. If you say, I've got plenty of apps in my life, well, then you can go find us on one of the apps that you already have. There's the aforementioned Spotify. We're also on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on whatever that Amazon service is. We're on Pandora, a whole bunch of others. Just search for Free Range Idiocy. Pretty sure no one else is out there pretending to be us. You can also find us on the social medias. We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. You can also find all of our episodes on YouTube if you prefer to get your podcasts from the YouTube. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. If you have any thoughts, questions, or concerns that you'd like to broach or bring up, or perhaps, throw a digital brick through our window, if you will, you can send all of those to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com, and he will get back to you forthwith, if not sooner. And I won't, because, well, quite honestly, I can barely tie my shoes in the morning. Tim is definitely the one who can handle things more in life than I can. And now I'm actually going to hand the baton, as it were, over to Tim, or as I lovingly refer to him as, the less idiotic of the two idiots who handle this show. And but not before I ask him the second most important question ever uttered by human lips. The first, of course, being, what is hip? The second being, what in the hell did we learn this episode?
I need money.
We've learned the following.
Good. We've
learned that Uncle Todd and the man they call Tim, we have stamina. But that stamina has been put to the test. Jey Uso Roman Reigns match. Good Lord Almighty.
Oh my God, I feel like it was community service.
We have learned that the man they call Tim flexes with the best of them, especially when he's on the Jumbotron.
Mm-hmm.
he will be representing Free Range Idiocy a bit more effectively the next time.
Just next time, don't lift up your shirt and show off your belly button ring.
I will try not to. I will try not to.
Almost got tossed out for that.
I did get reprimanded by security on that front. We have also learned that Dormammu is going to be Uncle Todd and the man they call Tim's bourbon brand that will be coming in 3 years' time. So just keep an eye out for that. Dormammu, ladies and gentlemen.
Bottled in bond, Dormammu.
That's right. That's right. Barrel proof, baby. Barrel proof. We've learned the following things about Brock Lesnar. He is a sweat machine. Along with being a suplex machine. And
welcome to Sweat City.
That's right. Welcome to Sweat City. And Brock is also, if you see him around, see if you can, offer him a little something for some new tights, because there's not much left on those bad boys after that match.
That was like he went to the discount store.
That, or he's literally worn the same tights for 12 years and they finally could take no more. Oh my god,
that would actually be a great story if that were actually the case. It's like, they finally gave way. I guess I got to retire now.
Guess I gotta invest in some new ones. We also learned that apparently in wrestling with Roman and Jay, they were moving at 1/4, if not 1/8 impulse power, and for a majority of the match.
They were walking around in oatmeal that was slowly solidifying.
No lie. As the man they call Tim has declared, the Superman punch requires flight. There must be airtime for it to be Superman qualified, and
and apparently you have to have half a bottle of bourbon to actually believe that crap.
Well, that helps. That does help. And finally, Uncle Todd doesn't know this, although I think the next show I'll be preparing the outline for. But after this debacle, the man they call Tim has lost show topic choosing rights for at least one show.
It's my choice.
I'm putting myself in the penalty box after that suggestion. Sweet Moses, good Lord.
I'm just letting you know. There was nothing typed in the chat. No, I wasn't insinuating anything.
I know.
Hey, we all have a bad day, but damn, was this a bad day?
Good God, what have I done? Oh my gosh!
I instantly regret this decision.
It's almost like you have to have Krusty the Clown on the soundboard. They're just going, ugh.
Oh my gosh! I feel like I want to take up smoking after that. It's like a harrowing plane flight.
Indeed. Well, with all that being said, we thank you again for the listenership, and as we lock up the fences here on the range, as we secure the borders, and as we close up the range for the evening.
Oh dear God! Just get to the end. I'm dying here. Just get to the end. I can't take it.
You're not going to be able to find your way out until sunrise.
I know. I have to feel my way through the dark.
He's going to be holding his laptop as a flashlight. Oh, sweet Moses. Well, anyways, as we close up shop for the evening, we thank you again, and as we like to, wind things down, please
get to the back and end.
I'm getting to it. You keep interrupting me. Be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another, and as we like to now close things out, you don't have to go home, but you
close down here. Dear sweet God, sir.
And if you need,
you're moving slower than frickin' Roman Reigns with a limp. The end.
If you need, folks, if you need a little bit of sleeping material,
oh my gosh, I'm telling you right now, I swear.
Watch the main event of SummerSlam.
If I could reach through the screen, I'd strangle you until you passed out.
All right, I think I'm done.
It's like I took the wrong week to quit drinking.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
Can we help Steven get a peek?
Damn!
Just that's it.
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you. Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
So say we all. So say we all.
Call me? She won't call.
That's it?
That's it.
Not even the end like that. That's how you're going to end it.
No, I ended it. Don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. We're done. Thank God.
Now get the hell out of here!